I would not be surprised. That seems to be his favorite for reasons that escape me, because the pink walls are terrible.
They are. Although I do see one strategy in them, and that is you can see where the rooms are easily as you scan over it. And
yes,
looks like they're off finally.
I suppose that is the case.
Yeah.
I'm having stream problem. So it looks like... there we go. Okay.
Actually, I should probably refresh my stream because it's been running for a while as well.
Right. So, how much of the tournament did you explain before I came?
Nothing. I flubbed saying hello because I was still connecting to the call, and then only like 5 seconds after you joined. So we can explain everything.
So, Azure Dreams is a PlayStation 1 roguelike game with a monster tower full of 40 procedurally generated floors full of monsters that will kill you, and traps that will make it significantly easier, or maybe they'll kill you too, you know. Depends on the day and the trap.
Can confirm the game is horrible.
Yep. These runners will have 1 hour per round, basically. Only it's a best of 3 to climb as far as they can, as fast as they can. Mm-hmm. Unlike previous tournaments, they are allowed multiple entries. So we will be comparing the highest floor on any given entry as opposed to like a cumulative setup or anything like that.
Yes. And also, I did see the pink walls already on Palmer's side. So,
little known fact, the game lets you adjust the wall color.
For whatever reason.
And that is a feature no one else uses as far as I'm aware, but will be on full display today.
Yes, and we see here Resonaire is very adamant with turning the camera, even on floor 1. So I've never seen the back end of that little bump area there.
It is something like Kuhn always says, you know, and I always say, no.
And Palmer misses the first attack.
Oh, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, and it's actually not. The RNG is cycled so rapidly in this game. I don't know what he's doing there. Oh, I see. He's trying to do the map and
get his UI in order. Both of them are favoring that sideways UI, which I never liked because it allows me to lose track of what floor I'm on really
I'm
easily.
Getting paper right now. Because if we lose track of where they are, it's going to be only annoying.
Right. Then we will lose all legitimacy in our scoring process, and that would be dreadful. So, one thing to note about these runs as opposed to a standard startup of Azure Dreams is that while the floors are randomly and procedurally generated each time they enter a floor and each time they enter the tower, we are using the de-randomizing randomizer seeded tower function, thus allowing it that both runners' first entry is the same basic tower setup, each runner's second entry is the same basic tower setup, and so on. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will necessarily run into the same problem. For example, Palmer just put on a cursed wand, and it's very possible that Resonaire, when they find the same wand, might not put it on right away.
Yeah, he might hold off for finding a better one, because the first 5 floors of the tower, they're on floor 2, despite them hiding their floors from us. The first 5 floors are the most important ones because you're trying your best to gather resources. Because floors 6 to honestly 9 in its entirety is basically meant to kill first-time players.
Resonaire got that money wand. But yes, the game's basic gameplay loop can be described as go up the tower, hit difficulty spike, die or go home, come back in with your gear and with a stronger monster. Assuming you kept your gear if you went home deliberately. If you died, you don't get to keep your gear.
Mm-hmm. And the game is actually very evil. We see here Resonaire hitting the traps for 8 experience, getting some early levels. That's always good to have.
The early levels are the most important because most games in this game have some diminishing return.
Yes.
So the first levels give you the most power, or the most EXP, the bigger increases to your numbers. There's all the important stuff. Ko's levels are not permanent. Once you leave the tower, Ko goes exactly back to the state he was in when you first entered it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, the little blue fellow Kyun there will keep his levels, as will any other monster you take with it. Did not know that. But yes, both of these runners are running on the US release.
Yes.
So that is equalized between the two of them.
Also, just as a small community update, if you type in !Azure, you can find our Discord link. We've had our leaderboards smashed again because we're currently in the process of either splitting the leaderboards or keeping them the same. Wooga got a 27, I want to say 41, with a familiar's entry all the way up the tower. And he didn't use a single pet the entire time. So this game can be played many different ways, and a lot of the runners that we have in our Discord are absolutely insane. And yeah, it's just mind-boggling what people can do. And oh, I see. Palmer threw Queenie, and now he's wondering how to get Queenie back. And also, are we mispronouncing Queenie, Coon, Blue Guy, Trash, whatever you want to call him? No one pronounces his name similar in the community. So we're just gonna...
I'm not sure what Palmer is hoping to do here.
There we go.
Luckily, it's not that big of an obstacle.
Yeah.
Now, the big thing to note on these early floors is what sort of gear choices they will be making, because this is about the safest stretch to explore that there is. This is, before the first difficulty spike, which is not to say that the early floors can't decide to brutalize you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely can.
Yeah, no, there's, if you hit a paralysis trap in a door frame, you're as good as dead. Likewise, the sleep trap, a warp trap was a lot of end runners for a lot of people. If you don't find a wing crystal and forced to go up when you don't want to, that can end your run as well because you're not prepared. Zero Egg, I am impressed. How?
That's some dedication.
please let me know with another comment. Please let me know how you died in the floor 1 tutorial. Because this is a Palumpa.
I suppose the luck gets bad, but it strikes me as a thing you have to do with dedication. Now, floor 2 is not messing around.
No.
In fact, floor 2 is in some ways, I would say, maybe a little bit deadlier. The tutorial floor doesn't have trolls.
No, it's just a Palumpa.
You're thinking about regular floor 1, which isn't the tutorial floor. Regular floor 1, while it has some special features on second or third entry, and is of course very dieable on, that's very possible.
Yeah, after you do one re-entry, floor 1 has 3 variants that you can have. And those ones have trolls. The first one you spawn the game is when it's just a Palumpa. And we have actually quite a few runners, one in particular named Adarsis, who's very famous for dying on floor 1. And that's a horrible spawn, because you don't want the flame... Okay, he's going to have to take a lot of damage. Resonaire is seemingly protecting Queenie.
Which is
more
fair.
Than Palmer.
It is very hard to get high up the tower without a familiar. It's hard to get up the tower with a familiar. It's just a slightly different hard.
Can confirm, I had the worst RNG possibly in the community for a marathon run. This game now reignited my fear of this game in itself. Like every trap is deadly, every whatever. This game is just evil sometimes, and Resonaire is not in a good position because he has to deal with the Maneva, and he doesn't have a lot of HP.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky. Manevas are one of the signs that the game is expecting you to either retreat or die. One or the other.
Thankfully, the balloon is actually going down the imaginary hallway on the left-hand side. So he has a couple extra turns before it gets a hold of him. And look at all those. There's a win one and what? A golf one.
No.
Okay, so...
Right. Manawavas are water monsters, and this game does have an elemental triangle. Water beats fire, fire beats wind, and wind beats water. And our starting monster is a fire monster. So Manawavas are the first sign that the game really does not want you to succeed. It wants to keep dangling success out of your reach so that you celebrate the little victories.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I keep seeing... okay, so two things are bugging me about both runners. One, the pink walls, as everyone probably can see the bubblegum neon pink.
Yep.
The second one is I've never seen this game played for a long period of time at a diagonal angle on Resonaire's side, and it's bugging me a lot, seeing him just walk down the hallways at a diagonal.
It's an interesting choice. Nice.
Oh, yeah, the first scroll.
Yep. They both found that. I don't know if Palmer has used his yet. He might be saving.
Palmer just throwing queens. Oh, those poison traps are just horrible. Yes, yes. Everyone knows 3D is best represented at three-quarter perspective. Absolutely.
Isometric forever.
Yeah. For everyone who's non-isometric, push 1. Everyone who is pro-isometric, push 2. Oh, I know how people feel about this crucial part of the game.
Resonaire, I think, going to come into inventory space issues soon enough, because he is keeping, I think, basically every wand he has picked up.
Oh, people actually are listening to me. Wow. I should not have that much power.
Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know people's opinions on this divisive debate that we made up several seconds ago.
Yep. Our community has been just plagued with questions about who supports isometric and not. So, anyway,
it is one of the great fandom wars.
Yeah. So actually, Resonaire is actually on a pretty decent pace. All things considered. He's trying to wait there to get some HP back. I didn't actually see the elevator. I thought he was actually just waiting. He should be out of... Yes, he's on floor 7, so he has about 2 more full floors that he has to find and leave. And like Lady Deme said, he really needs to get rid of a lot of these. Okay, taking a leather shield for a walk.
Honestly, the leather shield's a little preferable to the wood shield. In fact, maybe even a lot preferable to the wood shield.
Yes.
It offers one unique advantage. Oh, hello, SpeedGaming.
Yes, thank you for the raid.
Thank you for the raid. It offers one advantage over the wood shield, which is that it offers a small chance increase to dodge, and that can be your best defense sometimes.
Oof.
Particularly as you get higher up and your defense becomes so massively outclassed compared to literally everything else.
So that was a U-boat on Resonaire's side that just did a chunk of damage. You have 39 health, it did 12, so it's nearly a third of its life every single attack, and they have a very annoying ability where they stay under... Oh, there goes Queenie. They always get the first attack because they are submerged, and then the way the turn order works is all your turns happen and then monsters happen. So, yeah. Oh, that Maneva just had his magic shield there too.
Kicking it while it's down. Kicking it while it's down. Resonaire's going to have... I don't think they're really geared up very well in terms of proceeding completely familiarless. Though he is getting lucky with both those monsters in the spawn room sleeping and that corridor.
Take the hit, or yeah, he's going to take the hit. Yeah.
I think that is the best option there. I think getting too fancy would probably just cost a lot of resources for what is otherwise a very good way out.
And here goes all the wands.
Wands are useless.
And he's putting the copper sword back on. Okay, he's... And to pick up that wind wand again.
You can, as Palmer is showing off, not immediately pick up items just by stepping on them if you run or if you... Resonaire, I think, flipping it around, thinking about that sand, but ultimately and soundly deciding to leave while the leaving's good.
Yes. It did look like that was actually a small floor, which was basically a pure circle. And in floors like that, if you start realizing there's a certain pattern, there's like one exit only and they all link together, leave as fast as possible because you will fight way more on those floors because monsters will spawn and immediately find you. And we're at floor 10 for Resonaire. And that's actually a good break floor if you had Queenie.
If you had Queenie. The monsters are fire monsters again, and so it's a reasonably even fight. That Holy Bell is great. Also, Palmer picked up an Iron Shield that I don't think Resonaire lingered on floor 5 to get.
No, I don't think so either. And I think that's actually the poison trap that hit Queenie on Resonaire's side that the Cyclone just hit.
Oh, a Restore Scroll. That is
very fortunate.
Really what Resonaire was probably hoping for in this situation.
Yeah. The only annoying thing is Queenie is obviously a lower level. So because of that, the mixture magic isn't going to do as much as it should be doing, and that's the crack trap causing problems there.
Yep, this game's general presentation of its layers can get a little bit confusing. So when in doubt, always check your mini-map. It is, in fact, better at these things than your eye is.
Actually, for the most part, every time I've done a run of this game, I probably focus more on that little mini-map than I do actually of the entire graphics on like the main thing, because like you can't trust your eyes. Like even during, again, my run on RPG Blitz, like I had issues and I kept swinging on missed areas because I was stressed, and like the game is really good at stressing out players. Minivas are just the worst.
Yep, it is very easy to get into a panic spiral where each fight drags you just a little bit lower and costs just a little bit too much. It can get pretty nasty.
Oh, a go-up trap. There we go.
Nice.
Palmer's on floor 6 now.
Now, one of the things that, while Mana Weavers are the worst, the community did recently start showing off from some of our more experienced runners a trick about Mana Weavers. They actually have a slightly smaller line of sight than other monsters, and so are easy to turn around just in a fairly simple corridor turn. Also, I don't think we saw that egg on Resonaire's side. It could be something pretty good. There are a couple of good options on this string of floors, though nothing, oh my goodness, amazing.
Probably the best would be either a bloom if you were to fuse it with something water, like a Palumpa to unlock its spell, and then turn it to wind, which I know Sand Knight loves to do. So you get a mixture magic spell, which gives you 100% chance of paralyzing your opponent. Or probably a clown to double up Queenie's his mixture magic spells, and
right. That's about very handy. That's about it.
Like you don't want to troll. It's too early for a griffin.
You made it pretty okay. And their mixture magic is interesting, but a little bit hard to plan around. Once they unlock a hidden spell, anyway.
Yeah. And we see here, Resonaire is just getting some extra levels. He has a life wand, and he has the height advantage, which we didn't really explain. But there's a height advantage and disadvantage for damage calculation. And it adds a good chunk of damage either way. Like, if you are below a monster, you're going to be hit for a lot more. But if you're above a monster, they're going to hit for a lot less. And with the mixture magic, you can see he's dispatching all these enemies really quickly. And he's getting a good chunk of levels. And the higher level Queenie gets, the stronger his mixture magic. Until, I believe, again, if someone can quote me on that one, level 10. I keep saying level 12, but it might be level 10.
It's somewhere in that region. That region that's about the end of the line.
Oh, and we got the Dreamin' Pudding code asleep there, which is very fortunate not to cause problems, because that could have gotten very bad if a griffin walked in the room.
Mm-hmm. Palmer went for the lift on that Manaweeva, found out that Manaweeva is too heavy, or I think more likely too goopy to lift.
Mm-hmm.
This game, I think, uses too heavy to describe a variety of monsters who are definitively not too heavy, including balloons. Balloons, which are lighter than air, are too heavy.
Yeah. And then at the same time, is if you have your own kid in the game and you evolve it into a dragon, you can pick up said dragon, but you can't pick up the dragons in the tower.
Right.
So, oh, he's going to be U-boat dancing a little bit here.
Yes, U-boats never don't want to occupy the same space as you, but also so can't both move and attack you. And so if you keep walking into the space the U-boat enters, you can safely move it away, though on occasion doing that a lot may run you into problems like with this bloom.
Yeah.
Oof, there goes Kuhn. Palmer may still get lucky enough to find that restore scroll. We know that's coming up, though Palmer does not.
Okay, we actually have the math by Sand Knight. 10, we have 90% of the full damage potential. At level 12, we have 92. And at 13, it's 92.01. So there's no real difference at all for difference of level 12 magic for mixture magic and level 13 mixture magic. So 12 is the best, but ideally you can probably do the water strats at level 10 and still be perfectly fine.
Right, it's not a huge difference.
Palmer tried to use the ice rock ball when the monster was just in front of him. And because of that,
space to work.
Yes, and oh man, all these resources are getting used. But we do know there's a restore scroll coming up in one of the floors above. So if Palmer can make it up there and find the restore scroll, he can get Queenie back. Right.
The question is, can he find that? Can he get out of this particular situation?
Well, judging by the fireball had nothing in it. Does he have a wind crystal? He has a wind crystal. Doing an egg bomb.
That is a pretty reasonable thing. Eggs are one of, I think, in some ways, the more varied tools. While there's a lot to be said about resource density, that is something that some of our runners think a lot about as their main approach. There is something still to be said about resource variance, a thing which can do multiple jobs. And when it comes to Azure Dreams, there are only a couple of things that can do multiple jobs. So I would say probably the Holy Scroll is the big multiple job item. It can both create a tile of invulnerability that you can be in, and it can charm a monster to your side for a little while.
Yeah.
And the eggs can be used as MP refills, as fusion fodder, as familiars in their own right, maybe, depending on what the egg is. Oh no!
Queenie set to the wrong AI. Yep, that's better. Just get him out of that. Still asleep, good. That's a Kraken. You don't ever want to screw with a Kraken. They are nothing but horrible, and I can assume his AI is set to 4. Yeah, there you go. When their AI is set to 4, basically the game is saying, hey, if there's an enemy around, go attack it. Don't care about preemptive attacks or anything.
Right.
That's what we did. And if that thing was awake, like that griffin, that would have been also a very bad thing. I don't think we saw a blue color on Resonaire's side, because that was floor 12.
Right, and so he's not going to have fusion as an option. That egg is pretty gosh diggity darn good.
Floor 13, yep.
Or at least it could be pretty gosh diggity darn good.
Or it could be a troll. Literally.
Palmer was hoping that recovery ball would hit him. It does not. Nope. Balls never work on you. They work on the direction Ko is facing. While you could theoretically set up a situation, Resonaire's found a couple of those and is managing to hang on to them. Elites do one job, and they do it once, and they do it very, very well.
Yeah.
Namely, they get rid of one monster, which isn't always enough, but can sometimes make a real difference.
Yeah, and if the players are aware of it, there's also there's also use for a lot of different items as well. Like I said before, like Holy Scroll. Probably the one I'm most happy with is honestly the Tumina Fruit. Because not only can you just basically disable a monster for, 8 to 12 turns and make it harmless, and a little jumping frog, if you have Queenie following you, you can actually do a glitch where it makes your tile that you're standing on, you become immortal, essentially. Ice Rock is a really good decision there, because that's going to hold up that one. And then he's going to have to deal with... that
one. And he will have a little bit of a slowdown, because the game is going to keep track of that other Newell taking its turn and attacking that Ice Rock. Palmer is in quite the predicament.
Still has his health, but yeah, the crack trap was... or the upheaval, sorry.
And also just the sheer swarm of monsters.
The camera spin by Resonaire showing the discomfort of a kraken, a griffin, and a griffin coming at the same time.
Yep. Looks like he is going back to that Newell that he has been putting off, if only because that is all he can use. Yeah. Palmer is going basically from the frying pan into the fire. U-boats showing off that while they never want to be in the same tile as you, they can be in the same tile as other things.
Yeah, so he's being chased by a good amount of firepower. Resonaire finally got out of that one, and you can hear the ice wall has been breached, so run.
Yep.
Yeah, you never ever. That's the wind crystal. Okay. You never want to be in front of a kraken, let alone 2 followed by 2 griffins. That's just all sorts of bad.
Yep, krakens can electrocute you. Oh, frog, that's bad.
Yeah, you don't want Queenie to know you're a frog when there's a monster around, because he will try to defend you. You cannot win.
Encore.
Yeah.
Or he will go wildly striding off into your defense.
Yeah. 414 for Resonaire. That's a really good climb in 28 and a half minutes. Palmer got poisoned.
Thing. I don't think he found that restore scroll, and I think he's passing it up, so he will be spending the rest of his run queuing. Though he does have the one major advantage over Resonaire of having that iron shield, but that is soon going to drop into pure irrelevancy. Resonaire is using his camera to get a good look inside that room, and it's quite unpleasant. Not the most unpleasant room it could be.
Yeah. Ooh, a white sand. That's always useful.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 different types of sands: red, blue, and white. The white gives you +1 for a spell ball. Red gives a train wand or a sword a +1 in attack value, and blue will increase any shield's defense rating. And this is the old-fashioned games, because this game was released in 1997 and like roguelike games. So if you have a +1, that means a lot, especially when it comes to wands like the train wand, or having like +1 or +2 on a diamond shield or something, because those small numbers will save you. And also, we see Resonaire doesn't have Queenie actually behind him exactly, which is why he got hit by Poison Trap.
Goes down on his side. That's going to be hard to make up, particularly since he lost Q not early on, but a little bit early on.
Yeah, and the problem is with dying versus using the Wind Crystal is this is a roguelike game. You lose. Okay, I was gonna say Queenie was almost dead there with the Kraken hit. You lose everything that was in your inventory, and so he has no money to buy even a copper sword at the start of the tower, because there is a weapon shop in the town that you can go visit. And yeah, he has no idea.
Yeah.
And also, if anyone's wondering, this is a fixed seed match, because we are using the de-randomizing randomizer made by a programmer. The second tower entry for both players will be the same. It goes on for like 30 different tower entries. So this is a fixed seed tower, and that does mean if they were to enter the tower like 20 times, they'd be encountering the same things 20 times. Because we have an hour cap on it.
Take out Kim, because that is the only thing he has in his corner right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing else. There is no assurance that he will ever find anything to make his life easier. He's just going to have to hope, and going to have to ride Kuhn's better stats to try and get himself to a level where he can survive.
So Resonaire seems to be looking for a bell wrong, because there's no reason to wait on an elevator next to floor 16 unless you're looking for a bell wrong.
Right, and those are... People describe them sometimes, I think I've heard you describe them as the metal slimes of Azure Dreams, and that's pretty close. I would say the one distinction is that for all their rarity, they're not necessarily harder to kill. They don't run away. They are, in fact, just a beautiful bucket of EXP and random items.
Yes, I do believe it's Sand Knight who says that normally.
You're right. That is Sand Knight. Thank you, Sand Knight.
Yes. Blame Sand Knight. Anyway, always blame Sand Knight. So, Resonaire, level 13 on floor 16. That's a very high level.
It is pretty unusual, because your ability to fight long enough to get level ups is not a thing that is a tricky situation. He has to decide, can he take out that troll fast enough? Because while the Barong is a great bag of EXP and items and can from this point onward be occupied.
That's the right decision there.
Mm-hmm. Can be occupied pretty much indefinitely.
There goes the Wind Crystal. I don't think I recommend that one, but alright.
I think that's actually pretty reasonable. If only because, like, at a point, now the familiar bell I would probably not give up, but I think he's deciding that he is committed, but also, wow, that Barong.
Yeah, people don't realize that with them. They hurt. Like, a lot.
Yep. Luckily, they also lose EXP very quickly. Or lose MP very quickly, and so become basically helpless piles of experience points.
Yeah, and that's the really nice thing about them as well, is, like, they appear on floor 16, 26, and 36 in the tower. And in the randomizer, you can also randomize what floor intervals they appear on. There's a bell wrong behind them.
I think that is, in fact, I would get out of there too, if only because he would have to deal with both of those monsters before he could use access to that Barong. And the Barong would probably, by that point, be coming and hitting him too. And as we've seen, those hurt, and his ability to fight things is rapidly running short.
Yeah, but we saw there that the Balrongs were changing items that was thrown into them into something new. And that's what all the runners love to do or any casual player, because it doesn't care about the rarity table. So you can find stuff you were never really supposed to find, or is like an extremely rare find.
Right, you can find roche fruits, which turn a monster into an egg and allows you to use that egg. Oh, that holy bell. That's sad.
Yeah, holy bells are really nice to hold on to, because if you spawn into a really, really, really bad room, I think this might be a trap room.
This might be a trap room.
Oh, okay, so it was a messed up coding error for how the... That makes sense.
Functionally, the difference is minimal. One thing Resonaire is doing is using Kuhn to help take out these pickets a little bit faster through AI ones, which is a good policy. While pickets are not very strong, they do move at double time, basically, and can steal from you. And that one... Okay, I was about to guess that it was the one
this one has an item.
Oh, it does? I was right the first time. I should always trust my intuition.
I have been able to guess which pickets have items like 90% of the time. I don't know how. There's no tell. I just know what timing it was before they find you again, and it seems to work. And the first one was a real one, and then the second one that came by, I'm like, that's. I was gonna say, like, that's probably what the item, and yeah. They will basically tag you. They'll walk up to Ko and quote unquote attack. They won't attack, but they'll use their movement to basically just kind of taunt you, and they'll run away again. And they take a lot of resources to kill, but if you do it right, they always have to touch Ko before running, so you can maneuver it so Queenie can get a couple attacks in, and then the mixture magic can take them out. And we did see the elevator on floor 18 there on the spawn in. So if Resonaire can go to the top, spiders, can go to the top right of the map, with the natural north, basically. He will be able to get into... the Minerva just transformed into something too. That's what that sound effect was. But you would be able to get to floor 19 very easily. Oh, he's hatching an egg.
This is a weird time to be hatching an egg without really a whole lot of option if something were to come up. I suppose that this room having so many entrances does make it a pretty good bolt hole, but I would still be a little nervous. Most of the time you see runners hatch their eggs pretty close to the elevator, so that way there is a good noping on out as an option.
And we see Palmer is still making his way up the tower.
He's found a shield and a wand, and so in that sense, he's in a pretty good shape.
Yeah. She should be fine. The mixture magic strength of Queenie is going to help him. I don't know what the chances of a picket stealing when they come up to you is. But we do know that if you want them to steal a certain item, like if there's some copper coins on the ground, and if you're staying on those copper coins, when they choose to steal, they will steal the copper coins beneath your feet before they steal stuff from your inventory. So if you have enough time, like there, you can... I'm pretty sure one of those is a Minerva as well.
Oh, almost certainly. We heard the Minerva shapeshift, and I think I see that the other item in that room vanished. So one of them absolutely was Minerva. You can't hatch on the elevator, but you can hatch close enough to on the elevator for any purpose you would need.
Yes, and Palmer demonstrating that doing a back attack does nothing. He paralyzed the Cyclone with the wand, and then walked behind it and hit it again. It did the exact same damage. The only damage that really matters is height advantage. And that's a warp trap to an elevator, so...
Basically, one of your best case warp trap scenarios. There really is no warp trap scenario that's a great scenario, but there is a warp trap scenario. I mean, I suppose if you've warp trapped to the elevator when you were in a bad spot to begin with, that's a pretty good situation.
The pig would teleport right beside him.
As sometimes happens. This is the second time this tournament we have seen the picket spawn directly next to.
Yeah.
Resonaire showing off once again. I mean, why runners tend to have Kuhn follow right behind them whenever possible. Because otherwise, Kuhn will walk into traps. And you really never want Kuhn walking into traps.
Yeah, because we saw that, actually using Palmer's side as an example there, he was hit by a warp trap. If you check your map by holding down the select button and seeing where the pink dot is from where you hit the trap to where you arrived at, you can figure out, okay, if I turn to AI 1, it takes me like 40 turns to get back there, will he survive? Or if where's the elevator, I can make a bolt for it. You can do that. If Queenie hits the warp trap, you have no idea how far he is away from you.
Yep, all you can do is head to the elevator and hope.
Yeah.
That is more or less the only option that doesn't come to the purest and rawest of luck.
Okay, I would not really... Resonaire is being extremely careful in movement, and I appreciate that, because one wrong movement, and that little spider is going to do a ton of damage.
The Arachnids are some of the harder-hitting monsters in the game. They aren't a better ally than they are an enemy, but they're still a really good enemy, so think about how good an ally they are.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be a lot of damage as well, because, yeah, there's a camera spin of frustration. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, if you use this Hell Seed, yes. Sleep, no. Because you'll use Sleep. There we go. Because you'll put Queenie down in front of you, and then you will cast Sleep on him. If there's nothing occupying that space. You don't want it. Yeah, you can't do that. Queenie's being held. Save Queenie! Huck him!
Right. He's going to use the power of Olim. I think Q at this point can't find Resonaire, and so what Resonaire... Oh, there goes both of those Olim fruits. Oh, it looks like Q couldn't back him. Oh,
and anti-chaos herb. That's what he got back from the picket.
I guess he was saving it for a reason.
Yeah. Again, this isn't why you'd have Queenie follow behind you, because we've seen Queenie been hit by now 4 traps on Resonaire's side, and 0 traps.
All of that was prevented.
Yeah.
Good call on using the fire herb before something bad, before he was in range of that wee dog.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another anti-chaos herb being used. This is a remarkable increase in the number of anti-chaos herb uses during races thus far.
Yeah, we don't get to see many of them.
They're not one of... Chaos being one of those traps that can be resolved just sort of by waiting patiently. It's unusual to see it come up.
And we now have Viper Town. And we also have a possibly blind Queenie? No. Okay. This is the second difficulty spike of the game, where the game says, you know what?
Third.
Oh no, I'm saying the second. Like, it's always going to be another difficulty spike randomly somewhere.
Yes, and basically.
Between the U-boat Kraken Griffin, New Elves, Trolls with Swords, Picket Stealing items, and then honestly, just the spiders as well, the medieval transformed item.
No real good breathing space.
No.
Wood shield +1. Wow, so defensive.
Hey,
+1s do count.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
there's better shields.
Most things are hopelessly outclassed at this point.
Oh god. Why are you fighting it? Why? That's, yeah.
Don't fight Viper. That is about half of his HP gone.
Yeah, so we have dubbed this Viper Town for a reason. Viper Town is extremely painful. Viper Town has a lot of vipers. They own it. We're just visitors.
You can't stop here. This is Viper country. It's like Bat country.
Nope, that's still going to be a good chunk of your HP. Nope.
Full half. And they
are surviving on the life rod alone there.
Wow.
I would not do that, because if you hit a slam trap, you're going to die.
Floor 20, halfway up the tower, is an incredible run.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. And given the sheer unpredictability of the tower, where even when we have seeded races, even when we have multiple entries, we still go, yeah, best 2 out of 3 to be sure. Or it's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm keeping track of. Okay, actually, I can see his number now. He's changed his thing back, so I can see the thing. But Palmer, I think, is on floor 8 or floor 9 right now. But I know he got into floor 10 before, because that was the background change. Floor 20 is, again, when the background changes drastically and things turn very, very green.
It is my favorite, I think, of all of them.
My favorite is actually like floor 36-ish, where things start getting like steel beams in color. I like that a lot. But
sort of like a revival of the kind of pseudo-industrialism that we're seeing, like on Palmer's side.
Yeah.
Not the same, just of a similar aesthetic, in the same way that one could make an argument that the early 20s call back to like floor 6 with this very green, naturey vibe.
Okay, I think we might have to call this one. I will ping Sands. Palmer is soft locked. He can't move.
Oh dear, that is
after the ice rock broke, he opened a menu at the exact same time and he can't move. Hold square? This game is a well-programmed game. Totally no problems there whatsoever.
Oh, well, lucky go up trap on Resonaire's side. Yes, very well programmed. Also, in case you're not able to see chat, I will point out that at Sam Knight turned out that bronze do check rarity. They just check it so badly that the answer to, is this the same rarity, is always yes, even when it's no.
Okay, I will...
So we...
Yeah, okay, that's actually a new soft lock, so thank you, Palmer.
You have advanced the field of monsterology.
Yeah. Okay, so the soft locks we know about is throwing out Olim on a transform Minerva, a fire crystal not working when stuff happens. So fire crystals, the Salamando, go reset to C2 then. So this is gonna be a point for Resonaire. Yeah, Palmer soft locked, so.
Yep.
Anyway, but the fire crystal has a unique trait where you summon a little elemental Salamando or whatever, and he moves like a picket. He moves twice, and he just murders everything around him. He can't attack if an enemy is an item.
Huh?
The Salamando can't attack if an enemy is standing on an item. It will miss every time.
But that's on a soft lock.
No, but you can soft lock the game through the fire crystal. We don't know exactly how. As far as I know, Sand Knight may be able to confirm. I don't know. But I have been soft locked 3 times by this fire crystal, which is why I tend to refuse to use them in my runs. Because I don't know what's causing that.
I've just always found that Salamander just runs off and does not help me. And so I tend to be very bitter about those things and like, fool me once, Salamander. No, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. I might as well wait 10 minutes to see if it unlocks. No, Hextree. We can move on to the next match.
But yes, Acid Rain is another soft lock. I think we've determined that it's not always a pure soft lock. It's just close.
Yeah, I've never seen one with the ice rock ball. We can probably knock that off in an emulator for when it breaks and then frame perfect pausing and stuff like that and see if that can be replicated, or the game just said it's done. I see Palmer. No, there's that pink. Yeah, there you go. I see that.
While they get
1947.
set up and get their streams set up, I'm going to take a quick break and be right back.
Sure. Give me a sec here. 1947. There we go. Yeah, no, that was a very good climb on Resonair's side, getting to floor, I believe 22. I was watching Palmer at the end, but I'm pretty sure he did manage to get to floor 22. Trying to level up. So if it kills too much, then that's nice. It's not like that thing is meant to kill things. Oh god. Really? Really, programmer?
And we're back.
Why would you do that, Palmer? Like seriously. Or Palmer, programmer. Palmer does not need more power on
this. Time I've heard about the wall opacity being a thing, but boy, that's going to be a dangerous weapon in Palmer's hands.
Yeah, Palmer is again the only one who does
really anything to fiddle with the walls. We're all more or less fine where it is, and then there's Palmer.
Yeah.
Giving us some visual stimulation. Yes, that's the ticket. Now, in previous tournaments, we have used, for example, the fast tutorial floors and the no tutorial texts of the de-randomizing randomizer. But this time, all we are using, besides the seeded tower function, is the skip the opening story stuff, so that we don't have to watch Ko's entire life story up until this point, his 15th birthday.
Yeah, and the thing is, the reason we start timing after Palmer to say ready, the reason we do this like at the end of this or at the start of this house for first movement, if you have a misstart, just go back in the house, exit again. You're in the same spot as if you were to do that. It's really simple, so it makes resetting very easily. 2, you can already create a save file. So if you have a name you like to use, like I tend to use Baldo or Shawnee. Could you count them down? Thank you.
Sure thing.
It's really, really simple. Just to load up a file and be able to play. And the third thing is Angel's kind of creepy. That's beside the point. The Japanese one is far worse, truthfully. They changed it for the NTSC and PAL releases. But
it's a fascinating decision of the things to change. That Angel apparently made the list. Someone in the localization went, okay, this is too creepy. Let's do something a little bit less.
Yes, and also I posted the Azure memes thing. So if you go to that link and join our Discord, you can see what the Japanese Angel looks like. It looks terrifying. Also, I have that on my desktop like right beside Discord at all times, so people can play about that later.
Can always find it.
Yeah, the voiceovers was disappeared. But yeah, the last thing though is the way the game cycles RNG, and programmer, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 3 different variations or like counters that change the seed. And unless you do everything absolutely frame perfect, you will never get the same floor. So if you were to reload the emulator save and take one extra step, like that's like the step count, there's a step counter for RNG, there's a counter that runs in the background for RNG and something else. Or again, programmer, please correct me if I'm wrong. But there's no way to fix the seed. So if you just load up a file, it's going to be random. It does not matter what your name is. So have fun. And Honestly, like even like, if you want to even name Queenie, go for it. It's only wastes like 7 seconds. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not a big enough deal. You know that in tournament settings it will rarely be skipped. We do see that Palmer has skipped it, and occasionally people accidentally skip it when wanting to. But you also see that the community has a number of personal pet names for Q.
Yep. I know Dadarsis is Butts. I know mine is Trash.
Right, I have recently taken to
R9?
in 9N for Q.
Yeah. And then I can't remember what Stand Knights is.
My other one is Jake, because for some reason he feels like a Jake to me. There's an intangible. Maybe it's the goggles. I keep going back to the goggles of suggesting a Jake-ish character that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Heart. That's right. Heart Chat. That's right. Then there's I know Horza does Sandy or Shawnee, depending if they want to troll me or Sand. Yes, thank you, programmer, for confirming that. You have to be frame perfect on both entering floor 1 and going up to frame 2 with the same amount of actions for even RNG manip floor 2. So yeah, there's no way in guaranteeing things. So just like you're just load up a file, have fun. And
you want the mercy of the RNG? Make your sacrifices of goats, loved ones, copies of heavily RNG-based games, whatever.
Oh, actually, I'm a commentator on a SpeedGaming channel. Everyone, put your blessed RNGs in chat. So people listen to me on that one. Anyway, we see here Palmer's already on floor 2. I can actually change over the... Oh, never mind. We're using Resonaire's audio. I was actually going to change it over, but I can't. But we should explain for anyone who's new here, because this is the start of round 2 of the best of 3 for the Stars tournament. And this is basically, we have the Rock Me to the Top style. We have the Road to El Dorado, again, Sand Knight. Thank you for the names of the tournaments.
It's Welcome to My El Dorado, if I recall correctly.
Yes, I think so.
The Road to El Dorado is a DreamWorks movie.
I still get to watch that one. It probably is really good. People like it, but...
But anyway, so both of the runners are at this point probably in the most precarious situation they will be in. That is bad. That is bad.
Yeah, that's a heck of a bomb trap there. Oh yeah, no, just to finish explaining what the tournament rules are, is the Stars tournament, instead of the veterans of the community all competing and then having new people compete with them, we thought it would be better to basically ban everyone who has an hour or less time on the 80% leaderboard. So that way new people can compete. It's not a double elimination tournament, it's a round robin, so everyone has games they do during the week. And then that's it.
People knocked out early.
No, now, we will have a finals eventually, but for right now, it's just everyone's doing the races. Everyone's getting better. We already had a 1 power clear in a previous match.
Very impressive.
I do believe that was Chai. Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was Chai that did that.
Had some really strong runs this tournament, so I would not be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
In his first match, he got up to floor 37.
Yes, and then he died, unfortunately, to a maximum in a crack trap.
Yes, so he is very promising as these rounds are going forward, and it is just thrilling to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, both of the runners are now out of the most precarious circumstances. Resonaire kind of had me during our explanations on the edge of my seat a little bit. Just from going around with that low HP and waiting for that big 10 HP jump to become possible.
Mm-hmm.
The first level is the scariest level to not have.
I think, the fourth frog trap we've seen?
It's been a pretty trap-heavy couple of seeds.
And people are going to start blaming me before Sand Night again.
They might.
So, for those who don't know, if you go to 80rando.com, you can see all the features of the de-randomizing randomizer. The game can get very crazy. And there's also a second tower to the game that programmer has been able to basically unlock through an item. And if you think the original tower is hard, the second tower is just disgusting for what it is, because it hides every item you find as unidentified. So if you find a herb, you don't know what it is. If you find a fruit, if you find a roche fruit and you think that's a pita fruit and you feed it to your familiar, it's an egg again.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, or you think the Holy Scroll.
Accidentally.
Yeah, so like the game gets extremely difficult when you can't identify what sword you pick up, let alone staff. And yeah, it's like every floor like 4 monsters randomly picked to be them. So cool, you could be fighting new elves, and like every 18 minutes they go up in level or something.
Yep, it turns out that the randomizer's work was partially already done within the game itself, but just never finished enough to unlock. And so it's notoriously buggy and a little bit unreliable, but it is a fascinating thing that finally answers the question of, why does the trap scroll exist? And the answer is to make you suffer.
Yep.
You knew it all along. It's what Azure Dreams is best at.
Yeah, and if you're in the second tower and you're barely surviving and you think it's a holy scroll and you use it, and all of a sudden all the traps get hidden again on the floor, oh, hello, we got a Scarlet Wand.
Yep.
Watch the damage output on this one on the flames. Resonaire is not going to have to care at all, basically, once he's one more level. He'll be able to one-shot everything to, like, one or two shot basically everything till, I think floor 6, maybe 7?
Yep, which is not necessarily, rapidly approaching, but definitely worthwhile. He also has a stream wand if he feels like fusing, if he can get the blue collar, fuse that Palumpa into Cune, or if he finds a sea seed and waits for an appropriate level on the fuse it into Cune, he can get a much more solid elemental coverage. Another stream wand.
I want this seed.
The seems to be saying, well, you can find it in the Racist Organization Goes Here channel.
Yeah, my last run I did in the marathon was so bad, I couldn't find a single wand. I want this. There's a Scarlet and 2 stream wands, and all you would need is floor 12 blue color, and I could do a nice, water queenie run, but no. The game said no. I might practice the seed later just to have a good time. It looks good.
There are certainly needs that are very fun. If the circumstances...
Please don't equip that shield. Oh no.
It is a risky prospect.
Yeah, you really don't want to equip an Earth Shield until you're on like the water floors, which are like not these upcoming water floors, but like the mid-level ones, like floor 20.
When they're not about to be sandwiched by the fire floors.
Yes.
Because the Earth, Scorch, and Ice Shields are part of the elemental triangle. You can go and give the defensive properties of the elemental triangle to Cub, who normally is not in the triangle directly.
No. But the thing is, if you get hit by a Rise spell while wearing an Earth Shield, you're almost going to be KO'd in one hit.
Also,
so if you're not full health, you're going to be really, really hurting.
Mm-hmm. Also, please note that bomb traps are fire elemental.
Yes.
Are slam traps also?
I don't believe so, but they have a fire animation to them when they hit you. I think that's what misled a couple people. Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Also because bomb traps definitely are fire elemental, and so will hurt you more.
Yes, and bomb traps will also destroy items on the ground. Thank you, programmer. Yes, slam traps are non-elemental. Because I'm trying to repeat stuff in chat, not because it's redundant, because if these go up on YouTube, they can't see the Twitch chat.
Yep, and so it's very handy to just reiterate important things. And of course, the reason that we tend to toss these sorts of questions out to programmer or Sandite, that is a lucky find of that Manueva just being sent to be someone else's problem, basically.
Yeah, that's also possibly a trap room, or just too, and that's probably too small to be.
Well, it could still be a very tiny trap room, because it kind of already is.
Yeah, and also, just to explain, we keep saying trap room. Basically, the game has more or less a budget that it spends on traps. A monster den is purchased every single time, but the game will sometimes splurge the rest of its budget on traps and then put them all in the same room.
Wait, can you go back and explain what you mean by a monster den is purchased every single time?
Okay, programmer, again, sorry to keep drawing this on you, but basically the way it works is the game, let's say it has like $100 or 100 gold or whatever.
Right.
The monster den is like worth 32 or something, and it has to be purchased.
Okay.
Doesn't always mean it's always placed, but always is purchased. And then the rest is like, a go-up trap would be worth 8, and a bump trap would be worth 2. And it spends the rest of it as a budget. Sometimes it goes, you know what? This one room in particular gets all the traps and just spends all of its money. And instead of placing them all around the tower, floor and stuff like that, it goes, you know what? This one small 3x3 room gets like 6 of them. And then that's your trap room, and why all of a sudden it's really overpopulated, and there's a chance that they might be just pure bomb traps. And those bomb traps can set off other bomb traps to set off other bomb traps. And one of our runners, he got into a room, and I think it was like 14 bomb traps went off. Thankfully, only 2 of them hit him. But yeah, there was no more items left in that room. Like, it was basically a ball man.
Bomberman is a terrifying notion that you have bestowed upon me.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff with this game which is terrifying.
Yep, and of course, one of the reasons why we tend to throw these technical questions out is that in addition to being terrifying and punishing, this game is also incredibly opaque.
Yes.
And there's very little you can directly do besides pure scientific experimentation or ripping the game open then to get some of the answers to these questions.
That's a bad spawn with the U-boat in a room.
Yep. Luckily, there are a couple of entrances, and he might... That was probably a waste. That was probably a waste of time.
Yeah,
precious time he could be using to get out of the room quickly and hopefully lure that U-boat to go somewhere else.
No, yeah, I want it to work.
He thinks he thought he was going to get to that U-boat.
Okay.
This is admittedly a rare opportunity to get the jump on a U-boat, but he saw how much damage he took.
Thank you.
Palmer got warp trapped, and that was probably that warp trap that got Manueva earlier.
Yeah. Of course, the Maneva's going to turn around there, because we know actually, there you go. There's the Queenie is probably going to die. Yep, there he goes. 2 spots away from the elevator.
Very unfortunate, because that elevator will pull him right back to safety.
Yeah. And you can see over there, there's Palmer having his emotions via menus there. Like, you can see the Maneva, like, it had to be that thing. Let's go figure. Manevas are extremely terrifying water creatures to come across in your first entry.
Yep. And especially if it's just cute alone. who is both dealing less damage and taking more. Resonaire is put on that Earth Shield, though I think he may have picked up that Scorch Shield and might be carrying it for when it comes in handy and is just taking this little bonus while he has it. He's lucky that it's not cursed, because I think a cursed elemental shield feels like one of the sadder possible outcomes.
No, absolutely. Because like, if you're stuck being terrified of everything, there's Palmer just leaving the U-boat, just gone. Enough. Just.
I think he used his truth glasses to check the Earth Shield, because he definitely had truth glasses and now he doesn't. And that seems like the sensible course of action here. But also, programmer informing us that trap rooms are actually a special type of spawn, as are actually placed monster dens, where there is a 1 in 4,096 chance, that is an oddly specific number, for there to be a trap room. Or rather, for any given room to be a trap room, I assume.
Yes, and if I were to 1 divided by 4096, that is literally 0.000244% of a chance. And
which
we need
sound
that.
Like a lot.
But it happened quite often.
Well, until you consider just how many rooms Azure Dreams generates.
Yeah.
It can be a pretty high number.
Yeah, and the thing is, with the monster den as well, or with the trap room as well, is there is a time save that if you were to get that on floor 31, when you're supposed to be seen to Belda. Oh, ow. He's gonna try to fight the balloon. Okay, brainwash. That's good. Wait a sec for to see if
how that turns out.
Queenie should be able to take it out. One more attack. Yeah. Okay. Resonaire extremely lucky there that it was But yeah, so basically the chance of getting
doing the dance of relief.
Yeah.
That this did not become a disaster. Another egg. He didn't use that clown last time. He didn't get the ability to, but it's very nice.
Yeah, but with the trap room, if you encounter it on floor 31 when you're supposed to see Beldo for a story plot, the game has a chance of skipping the Beldo cutscene, keeping a trap room. Oh, we're gonna see probably what the egg is because Palmer has found it as well. Also, Palmer made up a lot of time there.
Yeah, he was a little bit behind consistently for a while there, but I guess he is in like a high sprint mode and probably also avoided some traps and maybe did some fights that Resonaire is taking on because he can.
Yeah. Also, I will finish this thought before I keep getting distracted by the pink walls. I'm gonna cover my eyes. So basically, if you encounter Beldo and have a trap room spawn on the same floor with that chance, the game forgets to spawn Beldo, which then forgets to spawn monsters. So on floor 31, you can rest to recover, grab all the items that you want, and then just go up perfectly fine.
It's a very low probability of that happening, because while we say trap rooms happen surprisingly often in their low chance, a trap room happening at that specific room is back to that regular low chance. It's like the difference between there being aliens and the difference between there being, I don't know, aliens on Mars.
You say that, my last attempt I did that I got it clear actually had that happen.
Well, we're not saying it can't happen.
I realized that after I got to 433, I'm like, wait, where's Beldo? I'm like,
where is everyone?
Yeah, I just realized, like, I could have recovered. I ran straight for the elevator. Didn't think twice of it, but I'm like, oh.
Resonaire is still having that Earth Shield on, and that is a scary prospect.
Yeah.
he might come to regret that decision.
Also, we actually forgot to explain how the wand damage works. Because we kept saying, oh, wands are good, mixture magic, whatever. You really want a wand in this game because it does power up your mixture magic by, I want to say, like a third of your damage normally or something, based off mixture magic attack power level. But think of like Pokemon, there's the same type attack bonus. So if a fire mixture magic with a fire wand means you basically get 2 bonuses on your attack, which is why all of a sudden Resonaire is literally one-shotting things everywhere. Oh, blinder trap.
Yep. Palmer throwing away that stream wand, hopes and dreams, and that copper
is also blind. Yeah.
2 blind monsters. Now, if you can pick up Kuhn when he's blind, that is a reasonably good decision.
Resonaire just learning that the trolls can wall hack.
Those crossbow trolls are so annoying. They play really by their own distinct set of rules, don't they?
If they see you, they will shoot you. They can shoot you 6 tiles away and just drive you insane. So if you're in a one-space hallway and they're in front of you and you're trying to go that way, expect a lot of damage or use a spell ball or get rid of them somehow. But they actually can attack around the corners because the game says point A to point B, done. Yeah, there's supposed to be an actual physical wall there, but apparently they're perfect around just aiming it perfectly and curving it.
Really? Trolls could probably replace significant portions of medieval armies when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
They're basically magic.
Oh, like, wait, no, sorry.
Than the regular magic stuff.
Sorry, I was thinking Palmer ended up losing Queenie a few floors ago. I saw the word hypnosis pop up. I thought a warp trap happened and Queenie got put to sleep.
That would be terrible, but not
that was an ice rock ball having hypnosis used on it, and the Dreaming could not put the non-sentient just ice rock wall. Trolls are a better shot than a stormtrooper. That's actually funny you used to say that, because the longer distance away they are, the lower accuracy they have. So if you're 6 tiles away, you actually have a higher chance of dodging them than if you were right up close to them.
Palmer going to rely on that fire crystal to hopefully save the day. Though I think I just saw something that Dreamin' might have actually run out of MP.
Yes, it probably was one that was trying to use hypnosis and attack the ice wall.
And you're right, the ice rock ball. That makes sense, which means that fire crystal is maybe a little wasted because those things do run off.
Yes, a troll has hit once and shot through a wall and wall hacked Resonaire.
Yep.
So therefore, it is better than a stormtrooper.
It's true. They can also shoot through confusion.
Yes, it's like casting a spell ball when you're confused. They can just point and click, and there you go.
Which is the obscure Palmer noping out, deciding that sure 10 is very good, but maybe he can do better with Q. He's running low on resources. He has things that can help him here.
So here's how this works: is like we said before, like the Rock Me to the Top style tournaments. That's a lot of damage with that witch. Oh no, he switched to the witch shield. Oh, thank goodness. Thankfully, Resonaire was paying attention to that because it's extremely intimidating fighting fire monsters with the Earth Shield. But Palmer realizing he didn't die, he gets to keep his stuff. What was I talking about?
Oh, you were talking about the differences, and specifically that Palmer is allowed re-entry. He is allowed as many re-entries as he wants within the hour, and so this is actually a pretty good time where he could definitely at least make it as high as he made it before. And if something happens to Resonaire on these floors, it's very possible he could come back from this.
Mm-hmm.
this with a vengeance, taking the opportunities he's had, and yep, that is quite the tower of items here.
That was his wish shield +2 for the record, that last one. He's admiring his work now. Good job, Palmer.
He's realizing that he might have used the wrong wood shield.
Yep. Yeah, he's going for it. Oh my goodness, look at that Kraken room.
Oh, that is some parties. That is a Kraken party, and whew, I think he's not invited to that one.
That's an Earth Shield +2.
Yep.
So he's going to use Ice Rock Ball, and hopefully just keep Queenie away from everything and leave. But you see how much damage they're doing to it. It's just disgusting. But, so Palmer has the rest of the time to get, let's say if Resonaire were to die now. No commentary, Curse, please don't die.
Right, we're not trying to doom him. By the way, I don't think Resonaire got the blue collar. I think he looked for it, so he might have, but I don't recall seeing it.
No, I don't remember him picking it up. That's a lot of Palumpas for the record.
That is an unusual number of Palumpas, and while they're not necessarily super threatening, when you don't have that first level, who knows what can happen to you?
Yeah, but the thing is, with the re-entries, like if Resonaire were to die now, again, floor 14, Palmer would have to get to floor 15 before the top of the hour, because it's still a speedrunning challenge. And yeah, Resonaire did see that thing. Yeah, and whoever gets there first and the highest floor gets the point. So if Palmer were to get to floor 14 by the end of the tower, and let's say Resonaire stayed on floor 14, it's not going to change anything. But if Palmer got to floor 15, he would then get the point, because there's still a speedrunning element to doing an hour race. Doesn't matter how many re-entries you have, as long as you get higher than your opponents for a floor, you're done.
That's right. Of course, now, if Resonaire died here, he could also make the attempt and try and get to floor 15, whatever, and that would be pretty possible here.
Resonaire, not knowing how enemies move, which is fine. Again, a lot of people are new to the community.
And again, the game never tells you this. This is something that Art Helpful has some videos on about how to manipulate monster movement.
Yeah. And
they basically follow the left-hand rule unless they are aggroed onto you.
Fire Crystal? That sounds like a good idea.
Unless it could be a good idea. It could. Oh, yeah, that's not that great.
Oh, no, there you go.
Always pretty good use of an item.
Nope,
there.
You can't do that.
Oh, that's scary. That's scary.
No, the problem is Queenie can't walk through the Holy Scroll.
Interesting.
So, Queenie's trying to back... Yeah, there we go. We're going to color him. Oh, so don't ever select return from that menu. It does not mean return to the bag.
Right.
That's the really annoying thing.
Return to the monster hut.
Yeah. And when Full Featureitis, another runner, was first learning this game, she's like, oh, it's like, I know. It's like, I'll just return to the bag. And it flew off and went up. It's like, where'd it go? It's like, oh, it went home. She's like, oh, no.
Palmer showing off something that we don't see a lot in these other tournaments, which is that Ghost exists. He is your preppy rival who also has this very entertaining animation when he's mad where he twitches his eyebrow and shakes his fist at you, and it's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But we're not going to deal with him at all in this. Though it's worth noting that you can, if you're able to beat him, get a medicinal herb, and that's worth considering. It's not a whole... That is a bit of time saved, and Resonaire goes down on floor 14. We did curse him.
Well, that means Palmer does have to get to floor 16 now.
No. He didn't make it to floor 15.
Oh, so Oh, okay, he was on floor 14 then.
I definitely saw the 14 as he went down.
Yeah. Thankfully, Palmer actually does have the Scarlet Wand, while Resonaire does not. And that might make the big difference here. Because the Scarlet Wand, although not very effective against the water creatures, it is extremely good for being able to run back up the tower. Because, yeah, you're just one-shotting basically everything. And that's a lot of medicinal or something herbs in that room that Palmer was in.
Yep. If it were on a later floor, I would get paranoid. But luckily, you don't need to worry about that this low on down on the tower.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be just... I think it'd be floor 16 is when it starts, because that's when the Minivas kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And it
That
is
when they return.
Yeah, it's extremely annoying to always see two things beside each other. Because even when you know the Minivas aren't there, you still will have pause. The Minivas hurt a lot for some reason. And the fact that they transform into items, or in later parts of the tower, they transform into other creatures. So if you think a flame ball is going to kill it, and then it ends up being a water creature, you wasted a charge, and then you still have to fight a very, very strong Miniva. And we see here all the Plumpas in the world again fighting on Resonaire's side.
That is because the second tower entries are the same between the two of them. And so he has also at least found a shield, and that's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite tell what sort of shield that is. Is that leather?
Possibly, I think so, because it has that. It doesn't look like a copper to me. We'll have to check next time you pause this menu.
Either way, Resonaire really has nothing to work to help him except the levels on his Qun and that shield.
Yeah.
Until he gets that first level, he is in a scary, scary position. And he might not know how floor 1 works. Floor 1 is very distinct and unique.
Judging by Palmer's side, Palmer's holding a leather shield as well. It looks like that it would be a leather shield that Resonaire decided to equip. And if that's the case, he has a higher chance of evasion, and it does not rust, but only gives 1 defense.
Yep.
So,
if you are running any percent or are new to the game, the first floor might be a little bit disorienting because it is structured very different. It only has a couple of variations as opposed to the rest of the towers. Infinite variation, but those variations are very different to navigate relative to the rest of the floors.
Mm-hmm.
Resonaire having to stick around and do a little bit of fighting because, well, until you get that first level, it is not safe to go up to anywhere you might find a flame, let's say. Flames are pretty much difficult to beat in any sort of straight-on fight until you get that first level.
Yeah.
Well, if you happen to run into the one on your first run, fireball or medicinal herb or something to make that fight a little bit less even.
Yeah, that resource will be used. Like, there's no question there. Stupid Derpy. Just did rise, Resonaire named himself Derpy.
Palmer finds a go-up trap right next to an elevator, and the go-up trap is actually a little bit faster. It skips you a text box.
A pink egg when we're looking at pink walls. What's the chances?
I would be surprised if it didn't just blend in. But somehow it is noticeable enough.
But did Palmer pick up that egg?
That is a good question. I think we're going to see just how pressured Palmer is feeling and whether or not that pressure is enough to make him want to head out of his floor earlier. It looks like he is going to explore it. So he's not feeling too pressured just yet. Ooh, that is a lot of traps for a very small room.
and it didn't work. So bloop, there he goes. It is also a little, like Demi said, just a little bit faster. It also feels good to use because oh, there we go. Palmer gets like a second Scarlet Wand, so that means Resonaire will eventually find one in the spawn room on floor 6.
Mm-hmm. He's not using that Mazar seed right away. I think he's probably waiting for either himself or Kuhn to get a level up naturally and then use it to maximum impact.
Yeah, because there's a frog. That's a lot of Olean fruits. I think Palmer has too. That frog is not wanting to cooperate.
No, not one little bit.
Oh, so there are different categories to this game. One of them, which is 100%, which is unlocking all the monsters. One of the monsters is that frog. You have to physically hit or be transformed into that frog to get it. And if you can't find that frog, you don't have 100% file.
Yep, and that is one of the several difficulties with the 100%, which involves filling out your sister's monster booklet that basically serves as the Pokedex. Next, you hit or hatch a monster. Hit, hatch, or have a monster, basically, and it gets added and its lore gets updated, and you can learn about the frog, the bowling pins, all sorts of the weird ball monster thing that powers some of the furniture. Monsters in this game are weird, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like the little Flintstones. They have monsters that work around things and do stuff. We see here Palmer clearing his inventory as well.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't find the other egg. That's his first egg he found.
Huh.
That means he may have missed that egg.
One Resonaire picked it up. Did he just put the money? That's a little weird. Well, because I think he has another option, but yes, anyway, for those of you who don't want to have to hit frogs or hit traps, either or there is the bookless category, which is exactly like the 100% category, except you don't fill out your sister's monster booklet. And that one basically and either of those will give you a pretty full survey of all Azure Dreams has to offer.
Yeah, and there's a lot of
building and dating simulation elements that the rest of the game, that in any percent run, which is just concerned about get to the top of the tower, beat the final boss, get ultimate egg, have a nice day.
Okay, I don't think that's right. No, not what you said. Why did Resonaire pick up a Stream Wand and not a Scarlet Wand?
That is a good question.
Because can chat confirm Palmer found a Scarlet Wand on floor 6.
Might even have one in his inventory. I'm not sure what he's thinking about. It's certainly an unusual choice, particularly because that Kuhn is not prepped for water strats yet. Would a race to build the town be viable?
Yes, bookless races do happen. I'm actually the world record holder for that for now.
A bookless, not necessarily tournament so much as a bookless earn points by doing bookless runs, and that would about be what it is.
Yeah. We have enough resources. I actually did bookless tutorials. They're all found in our Discord, which I'll again just do this. Go Azure. Discord link is there. We have a resource text channel. We also actually have the Game Boy Color speedrunning community as part of our Discord. So if you want to learn the Game Boy Color version of Azure Dreams, we have resources there available too.
Yep.
No, Sand Knight is 4 hours and 6 minutes.
Very good. Nice.
I should know. It's mine.
Congratulations. But yes.
Yeah,
bookless
it was
all the stuff that an any percent will not deal with, which is all the town building stuff. Because while the game expects you to make like a whole bunch of trips up and down this tower, it is giving you things to do between runs. Entering the tower and leaving the tower is more or less the game's unit of time that allows storylines to advance. And so on. And so there are a number of things where you just where you just basically do something, go to the tower, come back, do the next phase of the thing.
You see here Palmer through the pink walls using an ice rock ball, trying to get around and away from the Minerva. Derpy eating the Mazara seed, picking up a spell ball, which I didn't see. He obviously checked it because he willingly picked it up, but...
Yep, I missed it as well. I was watching Palmer's situation with the Manoisa and the clown.
I'm just watching the pink walls. It draws my eyes. It's really annoying, but he's playing better with pink walls.
Well, you gotta do what works for you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the bookless run of Azure Dreams, you get very knowledgeable about how things go, because like certain things are triggered by you have to get to floor 28 or floor 30 to be able to unlock the gym. But floor 31 is Beldo, so you want to do that. But you don't want to go up that high until you build a hospital at least, because you want to go to floor 28 so you can get the healing herb, so you can help Cheryl and start that thing. And then, but you have to go up to floor 2 like 5 or 6 times in a row to be able to unlock Selfie. And it gets really annoying, and you have to reroute on the fly based on how well you're doing, what items you have, and then how much money you get before the first part of it, which is a bunch of gambling. So
yep, this game, in these tournaments, we don't really care about money, we don't really see money, but that is a very important element in other forms of run. We also have a New Game Plus category, which is you can take basically any 5 items, but all monsters must be basically freshly hatched.
Yes, on the video.
On the video.
Yeah. And we actually have a save file prepared by a community member which has every single monster on it in an egg, and every single major item and spell ball in the bank on a maxed out house, so people can start the game from his save file and be able to use whatever items they want and play the game.
I think New Game Plus is still divided into whether or not you use balloons in particular or not, right?
Yes. Basically, it was like a New Game Plus and New Game Plus Grounded. And basically, balloons are extremely, extremely broken. And AI4. Okay, cool. Yes and no. Queenie is basically kept at level 1 on the New Game Plus file. If he has any experience or seeds or whatever, you can't use them for other runs. But most people will end up using like Arachnes, blocks, Palumpas in a lot of cases, truthfully. A lot of people have been doing Palumpa runs.
That one's just for the challenge, not so much for the official leaderboard sort of things.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun races. I know one of our runners did an entire run of the tower, which was for 5 Rocheforts. Just capture a monster, use it as much as you can, capture a monster later, use as much as you can. And that actually became quite efficient because you steal a flame, so that's a fire creature, then you go up, eventually you get a griffin, then you go up and you get eventually... there's another egg. Wow, this is a very egg-heavy seed.
It really is. It's across these couple of different towers we've seen. And because this game is punishing and it can be very frustrating to reset endlessly, one of the things that... Oh, he is abandoning that stream wand. That is a weird thing to have carried for so long and yet not used in any meaningful capacity. But because this game is so punishing and because resetting endlessly without counting anything is kind of boring, we also have leaderboards for the 10th floor, 20th floor, and 30th floor.
Yes.
Or so that you can input things that aren't perfect, but oh, you were doing really good and you made it to the 30th floor really quickly, and then you died on floor 31 to a series of nonsense.
So I was just laughing at Resonaire putting down the leather shield and walking on top of the leather shield, pick it up and put it back down again. Movement is very, very, very crucial in this game, and we saw a couple times Resonair's side, him eating the limit fruit in front of the U-boat, wasting a turn from escaping it. Although his movement is really good when it comes to like the hallways.
Yeah, but that might be the advantage of his odd camera angles.
Yeah.
Let him get a really clear sense of where things are in a hallway.
Yeah. What I tend to do when I play is I just hold down the triangle button until I make sure Ko's pointing the right way, and then I let go of the triangle button for one movement, and I hold it down again. So I know exactly where I'm moving, and I'm not going to do an accidental input if my control feels a little bit weird.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit weird. It's a PlayStation 1 game, and depending on your control, but is nevertheless played with the D-pad for the most part, but using a direction, so it's a little weird.
A hit. Thankfully, Queenie is strong enough to survive easily because he is a higher level than the first entry. But still,
Yep.
U-boat's doing 8 damage against the creature, which I think has like 5 levels above it right now. It's kind of terrifying.
U-boats are scary. They hit very hard.
Oh dear. So Resonaire just equipped the wood shield just to say, oh, I'm gonna get +1 defense over the leather shield. It's cursed. Wood shields have +2 defense, naturally. Leather shields have +1. Curse shields are -1. He exchanged his extra evasion and his luck stat, which is a whole different category, into...
using a wind seat on that U-boat, which is... Well, actually, he is slowed down, and so that U-boat is just going to town on him.
Yeah. Yep. Thankfully, Queen does attack twice as well, but that's a very precarious... Oh my goodness.
Yep. Oh wow, this is a very trap-heavy... Oh goodness.
Okay, that's nice, because that was the last turn of slow, which meant Queenie could then attack twice.
Well,
so that was very fortunate it ended right there.
Wasn't slowed to begin with. That was just Ko, I think, but still, it is very nice. And also that monster that arrived while he was knocked out and slowed was in fact a clown, a wind elemental. Oh, there's that trap scroll I was mentioning. Eggbomb, and that was a U-boat, wasn't it?
Yeah, also Professor Palmer goes for the pickup. Gets it. He has 5 HP left.
Oh, that is scary. That is a scary thing.
And he is... Nope, he's going up. So depending what floor he spawns in...
Yep, that could be a very nasty situation.
Hopefully the clown stays asleep.
Oh, he is going on the offensive. So if clowns... Well, they can hit pretty hard. They are at least wind elemental, and so they fold like origami paper.
Professor Palmer, seeing some sort of strange object in the other room, turns the camera. It's not an elevator, it's a U-boat sleeping. He leaves. He does not turn back.
A sound decision indeed.
Indeed.
Resonaire's actually gotten a little bit ahead onto those fire floors.
Mm-hmm. I think he switched up his sword.
Yeah, interesting.
It's still better to do the 1 damage.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's not an elemental, because he didn't pick up that. Oh, another slow trap.
Okay, a life one's good. He does have a holy bell too. Like if worst comes to worst, he can use a holy bell as long as he's in a room and eject the monsters out and wait for the slow.
And his wand is cursed. That is just unlucky.
Yeah, that's actually really, really bad because since Mixture Magic is based off of more or less the damage from Queenie and you together, if you have a -1 weapon, you're not putting in your effort into doing damage with the Mixture Magic. So he is actually gonna
put Hune into a much more offensive positioning because he is coming at this with very little statistically. But Hune cannot fight forever, and that is a thing.
That's one more. Okay. Queenie literally has, I think, 4 HP. I was going to say roughly 5.
And also, those do burn through his MP a lot faster.
Yes.
Luckily, on any entry, you can get a pita fruit, and that is a pretty handy thing to have. I don't know if he's used it already on this entry.
I do believe he has. I think around floor 8 he used it.
Yeah, I know he was considering it earlier and checked, but I was not sure. Ooh, that could have been bad.
Again, like stormtroopers, but there you go. It hit once. So.
Mm-hmm. But worth noting that the arrow shots don't end with you. Or basically, if you dodge, they can hit things behind you, which can be funny. They can hit other monsters.
I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, if Sand Knight's still here, but Sand Knight actually lost because Queenie was supposed to take the shot for him, and Queenie ended up dodging, and then the shot went through Queenie and then killed the player. I'm pretty sure it was Sand Knight that happened to during a tournament run.
That sounds like a thing that absolutely can happen.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you plan for everything. You think, okay, I have these resources, I can go along with this. This should work out this way, and then something like that happens, which just throws everything out the window.
All of his cursed items. Luckily, that is. One use clears all your curses, but note that his luck stat, a not really well understood thing, or at least not a well controllable thing.
Yes.
Is pretty much is not restored yet. He'll need a cure-all herb to lift that, but he at least can change into a different shield. It looks like a copper shield.
What's going on? There's no decurse scroll on the top of that room.
Maybe he already picked it up?
Nope, he entered that room just now. So the scroll one is different, there's no decurse scroll, so the items are not...
Well, there's a trap there. What trap is... No, it's not a bomb trap.
Can't see, pink wall.
It wasn't shaped like a bomb trap. Bomb traps have... It was shaped more like a slow trap or one of those, you know?
I'm just curious if the pink walls are affecting his run.
That is a good question.
I don't know, because there should be a Scarlet Wand on floor 6 for Resonaire. And there should be a decurse scroll. There's also the blue collar there, finally.
Yep.
Oh, so that means...
Okay, are getting very close to... Interesting that Palmer ignoring the blue collar, basically.
There is 6 minutes left in the run for the hour attempt, so most likely not worth his time at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. They are getting very close, though only Resonaire knows this. Though admittedly, Resonaire does not know where Palmer is.
Yeah.
Or where Palmer has gotten to.
Yeah, please, programmer. I'm actually kind of curious, but I think honestly it might be due to the pink wall. Because normally we don't touch the color settings. And if that's the case, then... Oh wow, there's a lot of Krakens on Resonaire's side. Oh, there's
everything on Resonaire's side.
Yeah. Griffins are extremely, extremely aggressive when it comes to spells as well.
Yeah, I think it feels like they use spells more than maybe just about any other monster that you see commonly. Like, there may be more spell-happy monsters, but not ones you see as often as you see Griffin.
All right, so we got an ice rock ball because there we go.
But he's seeing that Kraken up ahead.
Yeah,
and
he has to.
how much he has to deal with at a time. You get a nice rock, and you get a nice rock.
Everyone gets an ice rock. He's just gonna keep commanding Queen to stay away from the Kraken as much as possible. Huh. If that's the case, we might have to regulate it so the walls aren't different if that ends up being the change. Because all the scenes should be exactly the same. We see the same tower layout, we see everything, but the items are changing, which is the odd thing.
Yep.
So
it's very strange, and I'm not sure if there's a better explanation. We don't really know it.
We'll have to run tests on it and stuff like that.
They have all gotten to floor 14. They have all gotten to Resonaire, where Resonaire was. And so Palmer might actually be able to get in the lead.
Yeah, he has to.
Last minute. They both,
oh, he's a frog. Yeah, I'm paying attention to that. No, I think Queenie's gonna pick up Queenie and go. Just pick up Queenie and go.
Just go, man. Just go. You only have a few minutes left. And this is one of those situations where they could very much, but yeah, what we are seeing is certainly that most things are the same. There's just a few tiny differences. Don't say
he's getting his HP back.
He's getting his HP back, that's fair. And he can still get
He needs to step on the elevator and he...
We are just having anxiety that he does not know about, and so it's very screaming at your TV moments.
Yeah.
Don't go in the house!
Because doesn't he need to be floor 15 to get the first point?
He needs to be floor 15 to get his...
He needs to step on the darn thing. But he's grinding levels.
Why is he grinding levels? It's 2 minutes left. Gosh, if Palmer loses because he did not get on this elevator, because he gave up here, that would be the saddest thing.
That would be a step on Resonaire's side. That's a... Why are you fighting a Kraken, Palmer? What are you doing?
Did he just surrender?
No, I don't see any messages or nothing, so...
He's acting like he's surrendered. Except that if you surrendered, you would, stop. Instead, he's doing this, and it's not really clear why.
I am confused.
Please don't lose this race.
We want a game 3. Come on, step on the tile.
I swear, Palmer, you have 1 minute and 15 seconds to step one
tile.
Please. Oh no, he has lost.
He's fighting it.
He's fighting it, and Resonaire takes floor 15, and there is no way Palmer can make it. He has snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Palmer is, I think, trying to get to level 12 for mixture magic. I don't know otherwise.
At this point, why?
16.
16. There is basically nothing Palmer is willing to do.
The time for that last second elevator, yeah. Looks like the time is up on the player's sides.
Yep.
He misstepped. He went down. Palmer, are you trolling us?
I think he might be trolling us.
What is time management anyway, other than a pile of miserable failed PBs?
Yep. The real question, and of course now he steps on the elevator. And
he just now realized it's been an hour, according to the chat. I was gonna go. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, point goes to Resonaire. I will inform them on that one. We will see if they want to do a best of 3. Or we'll end it here.
If they want to do a friendly third, or if they want to do an interview.
Yeah. That is. You have no idea. That is. So what we're getting from our Discord channel is Palmer was actually afraid and wanted to do some grinding for levels. So he sat there with the advantage, basically of height advantage, and he was trying to get as much as he can with the Scarlet Wand and Queenie. And yeah, that.
I mean, ultimately, the highest floor was 17, just barely. But for a long time, we were thinking Palmer would win this.
Yeah, we honestly,
the last couple of minutes, we thought he could win this.
Oh my goodness!
My goodness.
That is something unique, that's for sure. For an interview. Oh, got some music or something on that side.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where you have to have a good chuckle, because that was sure thing, and it looks like they are up for a friendly third.
Okay, well,
as usual for this race, just barely. A full hour.
What are we having? One sec here. Why are we having audio bleeding?
I could win this.
I'm gonna take out the point for a second here, just in case the game or the same. That is something unique.
Is one of them listening to the stream?
One sec here. Oh, got some music or something on that side. Okay, testing.
It looks like we're good.
Okay, cool. He realized. Cool. All right, so give him his point back. It was him coming in at the end in case there was interview stuff, but obviously since this runs through an emulator, the desktop audio comes through. And Palmer's going to take a bio break, which I think I will also do. So I'll be right back.
I will also do it, so you will get to sit and watch the game spin, audience. This would be a good time for you guys to get a quick second as well.
All right. There is quite a few emulators they use. I think RetroArch is the one a lot of people do use. I don't know. Everyone has a different preference. We don't have a set one. Nothing can go wrong. Oh, I'm back. Hello. Had to say that.
Anyway, I tend to use use EPS EX. Is that true? Goodness, it's been a long time since I've actually looked at the name of my emulator.
Yeah. I tend to play in console anyway, so. Yeah, we don't have a set one. As far as we know, there's no difference in between them running the randomizer. But either Palmer did something, or not did something. Either Palmer is using an emulator which tweaked the items, or it's the fact that there's the pink walls or something.
The items, one of the two.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where we don't exactly know what's going on with that, and we will test it out in our Discord and stuff like that. And I know Programmer will get down to the problem. If there's anything that can be found out, he will find out. I know that.
Yep. Prior to Programmer's efforts, we were thinking that de-randomizing Azure Dreams, as it were, having a fixed seed was just impossible. We just didn't think it was a thing which can be done. But it could be done, and Programmer did it, and that is really awesome. The Azure running community is still pretty young as these things go. Only, I think, about a year old. Year and a half-ish. Which is still very exciting.
Yeah, and initially, like I explained before, how the RNG generates. It was nigh impossible. Programmer took one look at the code and went, "Yeah, I can fix this," and that's how it became a de-randomizer in a roguelike, which is a randomizer game. Palmer going in and out of the house there just to show that Mum still exists. That's very kind of him. Just give it a misinput. They haven't counted down. They'll be going soon. But basically, once we found out, or once Programmer showed us what he can do, we're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. We can play the same tower. After that became possible, we were able to see the play styles of a lot of different players come to light. Because when you spawn in a room with like 4 monsters and you have this amount of resources, how do you deal with it? Well, some people will just run right through. Some people will sacrifice Queenie. Some people will do it. Like, there's so many different play styles, and it's really nice to see a speed run or a speed game in general that doesn't have this is the fastest, do this. No two runners will play the same. Like me and they may play drastically different. Sen Knight, the Darcis, like everyone is drastically. Palmer did not mean to delete the name. So he was trying to go to end and it's not there.
Kodak?
Kodak? I don't know.
That's a very good question. The world may never know. As we do our final little dance on the
Stars tournament?
I was going to say the tutorial tango. There we go.
There you go. That works. Yeah, it's for those who are brand new, this is the Stars tournament. This is basically newer runners to the game who want to learn the game, who have not either done an 80% completion or have a time greater than 1 hour on the 80% leaderboard. Because of that, people, our previous tournaments, we had a lot of like really, really strong players, and it was very intimidating for a lot of newer runners to come in. So we wanted to make a tournament for the intent and purpose. Instead of it being a double elimination, it's a round robin, and people can play their matches every week and learn how to run the game and basically play the game.
Right. And develop some new talent, tame some new monsters, as it were.
Yes, and we're still learning a lot. The new runners have coaches that they can ping in the Discord. Those with the coach's role will, if they're around, will jump on call and guide them on learning. But once it comes to the game, they will no longer
They're on their own.
Yeah, they cannot see each other's streams because they are sharing the same tower seed, and you should not know what is coming up if you are paying attention to your opponent's stream. What else? Yep. Oh, the same 5 items. Medicinal herb, copper sword.
Guardian angels.
Yeah.
Creepy faced guardian angels.
Yes. And then
vaguely threatening guardian angels.
Yeah, we're honestly, that's the whole reason we also skipped that. We see Palmer going for the tech skip here. Mm-hmm. So you can see it saves enough time that he's actually able to get slightly in front of Resonaire there.
Mm-hmm. Also, Resonaire's camera work giving us another thrilling look at angles of the tower you're not used to, producing strange visions. And Palmer's neon pink floors producing strange visions. Well, I guess they're not so much neon pink as they are like a very bright magenta.
Mm-hmm. I'm keeping track of the items right now. So far, there's 2 of them are the same. Although, there's no scroll in the room that Resonaire's in. Is this the same... Is this the same room, or do they take a different path?
It's hard to say between the very bright walls and the different camera angles. This looks like it might be the same. It was at the same sort of scroll. Because monster spawns between them, at least after the initial spawns, will be a little bit... because the game is spawning in new monsters as they explore, to replace the ones they get. Which does mean that, like, for example, very small floors can be pretty scary because the monsters are also moving in a sort of loop. They follow a pretty straightforward pattern through the floors, and it's very possible to end up in some bad situations relative to that pattern. Mm-hmm. And also, if you are on a floor with like a couple of rooms only, they can just ping pong directly into your face over and over and over again.
Yeah, and if you ever start on a floor which has one exit on your door, most likely it's basically a string with a couple rooms in it. You'll be fighting a ton on those floors. So it's either best just to waste resources as fast as you can to get to the exit, or just win crystal out. That's a confusion trap.
Oh, that is another one of those times where keeping Kuhn close at hand would be very good, and having Kuhn confused is one of the scarier things that can happen because he will go for you if you get too close.
If nothing else, him casting Brid and wasting his MP is far scarier too, because if he hits you, yeah, it hurts you. It's also, Brid costs 12 MP. Queenie only has 100.
That's a good solid 10, and that... Using Mixture Magic, depending on how you are, he'll start running low around floor 10 or 12 or so, depending on like how things work out. That's around the part where I start getting a little bit... I should check and see if I need to use my Pita Fruit, because I probably do. But with Brid, that number gets moved up an awful lot. Third floor is not really the place you want to randomly step onto a go-up trap like that, because it is a valuable opportunity that he might not be able to take full advantage of.
Yeah, because looking at the levels, like you see Palmer trying to get some extra levels before he goes up the elevator, trying to make sure there's nothing wrong about going slow in this game. If you can beat the tower at all, that's an achievement. Like, it casually took me months when I was a kid, and even now, it's like I don't have the highest success rate when it comes to... Oh, there's that one of the kind of the 4-4 was just 3 rooms there. That was a horrible layout for 4. But
oh, Manomivas, those are How exciting. He must
Yeah.
be so thrilled. And there really isn't a lot that he has had the opportunity to pick up
Yeah,
to help him out here.
him skipping floor 3 really will hurt him a lot because we've said this before, but for anyone new, the first 5 floors of the tower, he actually missed a spell ball there. And there's the glow trap. Okay. So he's going to spawn into the same room. Yep, sleeping. I wouldn't know what that floor was. But the thing is, you want to get resources as much as possible, and that's a lot of Minivas on Resonaire's side. Because the second you hit floor 5, truthfully, but floor 6 as well, is when a lot of the water creatures start coming out. And Queen can't do much damage to them anymore.
Good mix of monster elements around you, and so you can take advantage of it. Oh, and Resonaire just deciding, you know what? I can take another go at it, and it will be just fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't get good gear anyway.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, this actually might go on Professor Palmer's advantage, because we don't know what's above the floors, and we see Professor Palmer just absolutely just getting rid of this balloon as fast as possible. And will Resonaire sell the Palumpa egg?
We'll see. On one of my relatively recent practice runs, I made a similar decision on floor 5, and it ended up paying off, but the tower, whether or not it is kind, is difficult to control, and in fact impossible. So he will just have to see. But this is a friendly third, and so the stakes are a little bit lower. Maybe more than anything else, the enemy is the tower.
Will that be
And that is a warp trap on Palmer's side on that Cune. That is bad.
Also, programmer points out I asked about the picket stealing odds a while back. The picket will pick a random index between 1 and 20, your inventory, and it will steal the item if it's not empty, equipped, or familiar. So judging by you can only have a sword, a shield, and a monster, or 2 or 3 monsters that are hatched. Like at the best of times, you're gonna probably get stolen from if you have a full inventory. So that makes a lot of sense.
Now, I think Resonaire ditched his shield and the egg.
Yeah, he's probably trying to keep a spell ball if that's the case.
Yeah, he probably wants that fireball because he didn't use it pretty much at all.
And a curse scroll.
Just in case.
Yeah. Oh, there's Professor Palmer getting out of that Miniva room.
Right, just by deciding not to fight, though now he has walked himself into a little bit of a corner, and that might be very scary.
Yeah.
The malicious spell is not going to be terribly helpful for him here. He also doesn't have a whole lot of strong resources to help him out.
Yeah, and Queen just died. I don't think he realized that, but
Yep, that's pretty quick.
He has a wind crystal, and looks like he will possibly. Yeah, there he goes. So both of them going out the same floor. One going out because of the Minivas, the other one going out because of the Minivas after.
Right. He managed to get out just for a second, and so once again have them running the same tower at about the same time.
Yep.
Resonaire having a little bit of a lead, but not too much of one. What items Palmer brings is going to be an interesting question. Oh boy, chaos.
Yeah, there's that crack in the bush I was talking about in a previous commentary. This is the only spell, or this is a very simple floor to navigate, because if you go straight up, take a right, and you go all the way counterclockwise, you'll come across the right-hand side of the floor 1, and from then you just walk across that bush straight to the elevator versus walking all the way around it. But if you're going for resources, you might as well take the long trip, because you're not going to really die in floor 1, barring really bad luck, especially with the strong queen.
And you want to get that first level before you go up into anything dangerous. Because it's the most important level of the day.
Yeah. Also, Professor Palmer making another tower. He's having a great time. He's trying to jump and... I'm proud of you, Palmer.
Ice Shield. Ice Shield is probably one of the better shields. Like, of the 3 elemental shields, and really of the 3 elements in general, water is probably the most secure one. Because the monsters you're really afraid of are pretty much all going to be wind or fire. Or rather, water or fire. And so you're going to be at worst drawing neutral. Wind monsters tend to be a little bit more about status effects and tend to be a little bit more about interesting. Palmer goes with the Blimpa egg, but still with the decurse scroll.
He might like the idea of an egg bomb more than having cursed equipment, because like egg bombs do make a big difference, especially if you know what monster it is as well. So I'm pretty sure since he never identified the egg, yeah, it's back to being pink, which I guess suits him for his walls, but...
Yep.
So yeah, this is, again, if he wanted to cut out the entire floor, he can just go right. He's taking a left, obviously, because where the camera's turned. But it's just a quick way of doing the floors, and especially when you're doing bookless runs and stuff like that, even if you don't have a balloon, you really want to see this floor more than not, just because you can get the floor too easily and then just dad run out.
Yep. It is one of those things that it's a little helpful to know. Yeah, especially as we say on bookless ones.
Yeah, so this is the left side leads to a dead end as well. Because there's two different branches here. If he goes left, he could find the break in the bushes. If he goes right, he'll go around the entire floor looking for resources. It looks like he will be going all the way around, which isn't a bad thing. Like, he has a fireball too. He's able to get some more levels. Queenie's stronger. He's able to one-shot the trolls. So it's not the worst case scenario. That's a lot.
And like, he does not know what is here. We know because we saw it on Resonaire's side, but for all he knows, there could be a diamond shield and a roche fruit just around the corner.
Surrounded by scarlet wands. Yeah, everything is randomly generated. There is a rarity table, but you never know. And like, there you go. There's a pillar ball. That's immediately worth him coming this way, because now not only does he have his fireball, which has been identified, because when you return to town, spell balls show their charges. He now has that, so he can just start like blasting enemies basically at this point and feel a little bit better. Yeah, good. Don't jump off. That's always something that some people do.
Yep.
Is he just going to go straight up?
There really are like passageways in other places. The rest of the game kind of doesn't have like those water features. They do have shrubs though.
Looks like Palmer does want that that spell ball he saw on the side there. So he's actually going to jump off here because he doesn't know about the shortcut, and he's going to walk all the way back around just to make sure he gets that spell ball.
A little bit of time sync. Resonaire getting a sighting of that elevator on the initial zoom in. And then as he enters the floor, though admittedly I have now lost track of it from the camera spinning.
Yeah, again, this is why a lot of people will turn into cameras. I refuse to, just because I want to see natural north for that reason. Because if I'm like, oh, I saw it like to the north, it's like if I spawn in the bottom right hand of the map, I'm like, okay, I remember exactly where it is. If I turn the camera a couple times, I'm lost.
What I like to do is generally, Resonaire, it's okay. The Manoweavers can't hurt you yet.
Yeah. You can see the double flinch there from the 2 copper coins, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah. They're not transforming into items just yet, but a lot of experienced runners will, like, if you see these 2 items beside each other, you will hesitate.
Memory.
Yeah.
Marie, it's an instinct you build that tells you 2 items side by side, bad.
Yeah.
Not
also,
good.
You can figure out if you were to leave the room, look at the items on the mini map and they'll be blue. When you leave the room, the medieval will disappear because it's no longer faking to be an item on the grand map. So you can see which one's real, and if you can get around it via movement, you can. Just don't use an Olean fruit on it. It's a 91-second time loss, as the game has to remember what it's doing before it unsoft locks, basically. We initially thought it was a soft lock, but it's about a 91 to 93-second time loss. So don't do that.
Good to know.
Yep. Also, you can use the acid rainbow on a monster den, not on a one-room floor. So if you come in a monster den and you think you're afraid, you can technically use an acid rainbow and be safe. Professor Palmer,
Yeah,
Professor Palmer is looking at his. He's wondering how to get over the river. It would help if everything wasn't pink, but that's beside the point.
Yep, getting a little bit stuck there.
Where is he going? Does he think? Is he still trying to? No, he got the items there.
I think he did, yeah. It looks like he's just not quite sure where to go. And so Resonaire has a pretty healthy lead by this point, though they started very close together. With all the trap luck that has been going down. And that trap loop, pretty handy. That is a nice little section of traps right there.
We'll see when Palmer gets to floor 6. I'm trying to figure out what Palmer's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to do something, but I don't quite know what. And I think he's still trying to get that spell ball, because it's still on his map there.
Oh, you are right.
So I think he's really adamant about getting this one spell ball, and I don't know what it is. And if it ends up being a repel, I'm going to start laughing.
It's a pillar ball.
Nope, pillar ball was in the top right of the map with the natural progression before the hallway with the bushes.
I feel like Resonaire cut through the bushes to get a pillar ball.
Yeah, earthquake. Okay, that explains how long Palmer's been 4-1 for. For those who don't know, this again is a mystery dungeon style game, and the way it kicks you off is if you take too many turns, there's earthquakes that happen, and eventually rooms start collapsing. Oh, I see. Yeah, eventually the rooms will start collapsing. You don't lose anything. It just sends you up a floor.
There are, of course, situations where that might be the best case scenario for you. If you've got some sort of, say you've done the Tumna fruit trick, the room has started to collapse. He wants to see what is. I think he might want to see what has happened. It is very possible that Palmer has never had this happen before, because it's not a usual thing. You kind of have to dally.
Yeah, you actually it takes a lot of time to be able to do that. Possibly, once the earthquake started happening, I'm sure he's curious and going, "What the heck is going on?" He chose to fight Gauche.
Yep. He was intending to do that, and I think...
Okay, we got the answer. He just really, really wanted to earthquake. That was it.
Fair enough.
It was great.
A lovely opportunity to show things off. Anyway, yeah. Palmer taking
the time third
to get a wind crystal and a medicinal herb from Ghost.
So yes, to answer Master Mars's question, did he do that on purpose? Yes, he's always wanted to do an earthquake. There you go. I would not expect anything less from Professor Palmer.
Showcase suitable for an exhibition game, and what on earth is he doing now?
His controller is either bugging out or he's thinking. He's done that in a couple other races as well. He'll sit there and just have the clicking noise go for a while. His audio can't be used right now, but it does happen. And you do hear the noise. Blue sand on Resonaire's side.
Hazard herb is one of the lesser used herbs. It basically has two purposes. It can be used to heal up if a viper lowers your attacking power or your monster's attacking power, or it can be used to bring a hatched arachne up to full strength.
Yep.
It starts off without its doubled strength growth being a real thing, or without it being a used thing, maybe. A filled thing.
Yeah, and basically, if you ever want to try something horrible, take 3 miscellaneous spells onto floor 18 with all the arachnes and use them. I dare you. Not only will you make all the enemies stronger, but you'll make all those all the spiders extremely strong, and they'll evolve.
Oh goodness. You mean malicious spells, right? I think you said miscellaneous.
Yes, sorry, I said the wrong one.
So I was thinking, so could it be any combination of miscellaneous spells? Like a familiar bell or a holy bell? Okay, that does clarify things then.
Yeah, because the monsters can evolve. They get to level 20 or gain a level. If you throw Mazar Seed, I think it's 2 levels they need. I can't remember what level blocks are. But they can evolve into metals and other things like that in the tower.
Yep.
Snowmen, I believe, can go into sabers with a single level.
Right, and that is a scary proposition. There is only one monster that you see evolved in the tower that has a pre-evolution, and that is dragons who have just kids.
Yep.
Which is just so cute. That is just such a cute name for these little kid dragons. It's precious.
They're also extremely overpowered in New Game Plus because Cluter found out if you fuse High Queenie, the prize at the top of the tower, into it, you can keep the spell that High Queenie has, which is basically with the mixture magic is a one-shot KO.
Right, and that'll hit a great number of things. That'll, for example, hit U-boats underground, which is a very special opportunity, and it's the one thing that will do that.
Yeah, and it's a mixture magic thing, so it doesn't. It takes up a lot of MP. But if you fuse the High Queenie into a kid, the kid gets its MP back by feeding it copper coins and swords. So you have basically you don't have to fight anything again. You just keep just doing the mixture magic, and you're never, unless you get hit by a paralysis trap or a spell, like you're not really in danger anymore. And it's really, really goofy. You don't even need to worry about attack power either. It's just it's a one-shot KO no matter what.
Yep, it is a very powerful, very niche thing. Because since the second tower is never really a thing, by the time you get that high tune, assuming you ever get a kid, you're pretty much done with the tower.
Pretty much, like you don't. If you are willing to give up the High Queenie, yeah, it's a great way of basically be able to go in the tower as many times. That's a misstep. Gotta be careful of when you're not facing inside rooms if you're gonna return the camera, because that Minerva did do damage, and that U-boat. Okay, he's not gonna fight it. I thought for some reason Resonaire was gonna fight that U-boat. So let me mark that down. Floor 10 so far. A Holy Bell, that's a really good use of that because just get rid of a Mirror Shield. That's a good.
That is a good shield. It's a little bit less good in the specific context of a quicker run like this, but for a casual run, with a blue sand, that is great, because the mirror shield does both reflect spells occasionally, which can save your life, and also does not rust. And so, trying to move while confused gets hit by going to that doorway.
Yeah. When you're confused, the easiest thing to do is just wait. Don't run around. You might hit other traps. The worst that can happen is like a paralysis trap, a warp trap, or have Queenie follow you into a trap if he's not following exactly right behind you. Just when you get blinded or whatever, try your best to remember what the layout looked like. If everything in front of you is safe. Palmer is sitting on a U-boat. He's proud of himself.
Yep.
Oh, I see. That's how much delay there is. That's when he was typing the Discord, was when he's scrolling like that.
Okay. That solves that problem. And with being paralyzed, Resonaire is not happy with this situation.
Says nothing bad. Palmer's having a great time. This is that nice thing is, this is a speedrunning thing, yes, but always remember games are supposed to be fun, and Palmer's having a great time, and he's absolutely the fact that this U-boat is refusing to move. Normally he waits and he's going to try to fight it, but it's constantly saying nothing found, looking at his feet, and honestly, this is nice to see him have fun with this tower eventually. Like this tower is so punishing for the most part.
You gotta enjoy it. Anyway, the other advantage of the mirror shield is that it will not rust when you run into rust traps, and so any strength you give it is strength you will be able to keep on it. And so, especially in a casual playthrough, that can be very good, and you can make a mirror shield your unconquerable shield.
Mm-hmm.
If that is how you want to go with it.
Palmer's going to pick up Queenie and go. No one wants to fight the U-boat.
Yes, now that he has figured out how to get through the U-boats.
Oh,
this
Queenie
is just like
the other side. There's a trap scroll again.
Yes, because what he really wants is more opportunities to find traps with his face.
Which happens a lot in this game.
Yep.
Also, that ice shield is coming out greatly against all these rise-casting griffins and volcanoes on this floor. But if a clown were to come across, it's going to be doing way more damage than it should. So, Resonaire's been exchanging between the copper shield that is in the inventory and the...
Well, at this point, it's now going to be the mirror shield.
Right.
Ice shield.
Yeah, it's better to have a lower defense shield than to have weakness on the elemental triangle.
The elemental triangle and the height advantages are some of the biggest impacts you can find. And in terms of ways of increasing your damage output.
Okay, misstep. But thankfully, again, with that ice shield being able to take that damage. It's funny that Resonaire used the escape loop there. Because he could not find the elevator. So he's like, fine, just use it, do whatever. It ends up being between two rooms. There's a stream one there. And a bump trap. But you have to know how things kind of get laid out in the tower. And... oh my goodness, are you serious, Palmer? Did he actually find one?
Actually find one what?
Okay, so just finish what I was saying is the level layout is kind of just crazy, but it always has a set pattern to it. So if you know how rooms spawn, how hallways work, you can kind of figure out what the general layout would look like. The other thing is Professor Palmer is going to stumble across. He has an inventory. He has a dark sword.
So he does.
A dark sword is one of the rare spawns. It has a very low hit chance compared to other things.
So it's actual value of aforementioned rare spawn dubious.
The thing is, though,
it's always cursed.
Yes, but in Bookless, I will be eventually trying to grind out finding a dark sword. Because if you sell it while it's cursed, you get more than enough money to do the racetrack and skip roughly an hour of grinding.
That is very good.
He found it.
And yet there it is. He found it. Luckily,
and he uncursed it, which hurt me.
It's all right.
I know. It's I can't complain too much because, like, if I wanted to play the Seed and Practice Bookless, I would be able to. But the fact it's on 4.6
on your second tower, remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. That's just crazy. But if you need 30K or 31K technically to start the racetrack gambling and stuff like that, you would be able to. The dark sword will sell for 50K.
That is quite.
So not only do you have all the money for that, you also have the money to buy the hospital or build the hospital for 4,000, and you'd be able to get another thing as well. So you can eventually get straight to the casino. And it's just, I've been wanting to grind out that for a while, but it's really like a 1 in 5,000 chance of something to find in the tower. So the fact Professor Palmer found one, and I think Resonaire did not, which is the odd thing, but I'm pretty sure Palmer is exploring while Resonaire was going forward, I think. Or just went the wrong direction.
Yeah, these are things that can vary just a little bit on what you actually find from floor to floor. Palmer looking at them sleeping, so gentle, so serene. Mm-hmm. Like little babies with that total abandon.
That was a cursed dark sword that did not have a -1 on it.
Yeah, that is an unusual thing.
That is actually the rare version of the dark sword as well that he found.
Interesting. I actually did not know that you could have things that were cursed without -1.
I think dark swords are their own special little thing.
They might be, actually.
Because I'm pretty sure since they're always cursed, I think they also can always be accessible as well. Also, I don't know if Palmer has a wind crystal. I don't know if he picked one up yet, but he's hopefully going to keep his HP. I think that's a holy bill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Resonaire, by the way, hatched an egg, found a Bluminate. Not the most exciting thing available, but...
No, there's a lot better monsters you can get.
Sorry, Santa.
Yeah.
Everyone has their favorite monster, I think. And that favorite monster is not necessarily an entirely rational decision, though there's enough variety in monsters and what they can do that there are tricks you can find with just about anything. Anything. Like, I think Palumba is probably a thing you can't do much with. Noises are one of those things you can't do much with. But you can find a lot of little tricks to recommend this particular monster.
Yeah. And I think one of the most annoying ones to fuse into monsters is actually a picket, because you carry on the double speed trait. Because of that, your monster wastes MP twice as fast, so congratulations.
Yeah, but if you were to say to fuse a picket with something that can gain MP back very easily, like one of the monsters that's a vegetarian and eats herbs, or one of the monsters that eats metal like a kid. That could be pretty fun.
Yeah.
You basically would just follow behind and then periodically refill.
Yeah, especially the kids and pickets in general will eat everything. Nuels and Batinels will eat herbs. And they'll get 50 MP back for just giving them a simple medicinal herb. It's absolutely great. And then kids are everything metal. So everything that's a shield that's metal, not wood. And copper coins that you find on the ground, just chuck some copper coins towards your dragon.
Gold coins, swords.
Like
it's a neat thing. It's a neat little feature.
And there's actually a lot of like floor 14 for Resonaire. Let's mark that down as well there. There's a lot of weird quirks about this game as well. Like there's some mythology stuff. Like if you have a griffin on your team that's out, pickets won't steal from you because griffins protect treasure. Or Zeus can't roar on you if you have a flame. And possibly Ifrit as well. There's a bunch of weird things if you go back into the lore about how these monsters were created and how they interact with each other. They do things, and that's just some of the weird quirks.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out what Palmer's doing. He's been looking at his items for a while.
Yeah. Monsters in terms of basically features of monsters. There are a couple of ones. Besides just their general attack growths and defense growths and so on, monsters can also have special abilities which can be passed on through one generation's worth of trades, basically. You can only have two. Ooh, Diamond Shield. That is nice.
Mm-hmm. That's always something really nice to see. And we see Palmer sleep of Queenie defending him. That's probably the best case scenario versus a wing creature, which is weak. If that was a Kraken, that would probably be game.
Yep.
Yeah, like again, Queenie will always defend you when you have a status element other than confusion. And blind and poison, like the stuff that like, kind of hinders you, that when you can't control, he will pillar ball's out.
Unless you or he happen to be in a doorway, at which point this is fine.
Yeah. And we see Resonaire leaving and going the opposite way. He tried to use one of his spell balls, it was empty, so he's gonna just straight up go. But like this isn't a bad strat. You can run away, you can make sure you maneuver and move properly. If he walks in front and there's a Kraken in front of him, that's terrifying. I don't think he has a lean to get rid of the monster in front of him. This is the problem with Queenie not being exactly behind Queenie, or behind Ko, is Queenie is now at the point where he might get attacked. Okay, then Gordon's turned around for some reason.
Yep. Not having him directly behind Ko does create situations where Queen might move in ways that are disadvantageous. That are disadvantageous to you. Which can always happen even if he's directly behind you. He might, for example, be in a position where you're alright with him being and you don't want him moving to a tile, but he wants to move behind you, but no, your back's up against the wall, so he's just going to move somewhere else. And it's like, no, sir, no.
We have a
very short-lived sleep trap there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I heard the sound, I saw the sleep trap, but then it just again, you gotta be careful of those double items. This is where they start appearing.
Yep.
And again, they are extremely oh wait, come on, use the holy scroll. Come on. There might be a bug. There's a small bug that happens. The Minerva will be double its size. It doesn't do anything otherwise. It just looks really funny. He's gonna fight it. Darn it. Yeah, it's. I don't know what's based off his animation or whatever, but for some reason it magnifies it, and it just looks really, really funny.
Monsters and things where size gets weird. I seem to recall something about that. Palmer also hatching that bloom.
I would not take that time to get rid of the trap, but he's going to try to...
And while he's here doing more hatching, probably since this is... Does he want to think about fusion? Does he want to think about going there?
Possibly, or he's also just really curious what the eggs are this time.
Yep.
Like, I know that actually bugs some of our viewers. We are aware that the races end. They're like, what was in that egg? Yes. As commentators, we also don't know. If the runners don't know, we don't know. And every now and then, like I see a comment on the YouTube section. It's like, I always want to know what that egg is. It's like, well,
so do we.
Lots of time, you know. We can't do anything about it. Was that floor 12 that Palmer arrived on, or floor 13? I didn't see when that loaded in.
I'm not sure myself.
Oh, we're gonna... And then we see here that Resonaire being extremely careful about those 2 coppers. And then he walked immediately right beside it.
You have a perfect plan to deal with it, and then the controls of the game just say, on second thought.
Yeah, and again, that's like, we're not trying to like diminish any of the players playing and stuff like that.
Resonaire has done a great job across these three races and these 4-ish runs.
Yeah, everyone has their own play styles. I know there's still quite a few runners in the community who don't put Queenie behind them. But yeah, one of them is like one of the general rules that people share is put Queenie behind them, just because, yeah, you don't want... If you get hit by a trap, you can recover, barring it being paralysis or sleep. If Queenie gets hit by a trap, you're at the mercy of the trap and the tower and possibly whatever else is around you. And it's better to you get hit by it. And that's definitely a Minerva. You don't see things beside the door like that, so walk the other way.
Yeah, doors are special. Doors are somewhere between not room and room.
Yeah. And yeah, if you get hit by a paralysis trap on the door frame and Queenie's on the other side, outside the room, you're basically dead. Like, ooh, fire. That's actually decent.
So you're at least reliant on luck.
Resonaire trying to figure out, oh, not the mirror shield. I guess he does have a diamond.
Yep.
But
Palmer, having run out of MP for his Cune, does he... I think if he doesn't have a pita fruit, it would be best just to put it in the bag.
That or feed the egg. I think he sells his inventory to Queenie. Because that will also give 50 MP.
Either way, carrying him when he's like that is never going to be a good option.
Oh, that was a misstep, but I saw that one. That should kill? Yes.
Because you can recover from a lot of things, from being paralyzed or asleep or a frog. And so carrying him when he's like that is one thing, but you don't recover from lack of MP through the passage of time. And so having him out and helpless like that is just not a good use of turn economy.
Yeah, and also, like, on that note as well, I remember one of the runners early in the tournament, he's never practiced what happens when Queenie loses all the MP.
That was Palmer, actually.
No, was it?
I think it was Palmer.
I thought it was the person Stan Knight was coaching versus Poulet's coach. But anyway,
it might have been. Maybe I'm thinking about a different thing. I think Palmer was confused by Ghost the first time this happened, and someone else might have been the person confused by the MP situation and how that worked.
Yeah.
Because if you normally stay on top of it when it happens for the first time, it can look like other status effects. It's not always necessarily the clearest thing because The game doesn't, for example, give you a text box about it.
No.
Resonaire getting thrown up to floor 19.
Yeah, but it's one of those. Oh, there goes Queenie. Oh, and he actually, with the Dark Sword, kills the Kraken through sheer force. Which is something you don't see too often.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other monster? Oh, he has a bloom. Okay. That's no mixture magic in that one.
No, not at all.
But yeah, basically with I remember one of the early runners, like I said, is he had picked up Queenie and threw him against the wall a couple times, expecting like do something. Like, what do you do? Like, and Fee was downstairs watching the match with me, and she was just yelling at the TV. It's like it says 0 on a stat screen. It's like feed him the pita fruit. Feed him the pita fruit. It's like please, feed him the pita fruit. He's hungry. Just pick him up, throw him against the wall, run back and forth for a while, pick up. It's like, when will this wear off? Like that's the thing. It doesn't.
Yep. This game, while this game does warn you about MP, it doesn't really tell you what that looks like. And so if you're not paying attention, it can just slip by you.
Floor 20 via go up trap, like the last 2 floors. Also, we saw actually on Palmer's side how much the Dark Sword misses when he was in the Holy Scroll. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a definite thing.
Yep.
Also, I really hope Pink Walls is not guaranteed Dark Swords, thinking of it. I hope that's not the strat.
That would be an unlikely strat.
Unlikely, but possible. Like, this game is so weirdly programmed.
There is no such thing as certainty in this crazy world.
No, definitely not. Resonaire fighting! Oh, that miss is definitely gonna cost. Yeah, there you go, just leave. For the most part, you don't want to fight Vipers, let alone fight Viper. If you walk forward, he would have been able to have the height advantage as well.
Right.
So, that's actually a sleeping weed dog. It doesn't look like it. Now it's awake. They're one of the more annoying creatures to actually see if they're sleeping or not while you're glancing inside of a room briefly. Because you have to tell when they're hunched over, but they're basically little tease. So it's really hard to...
Right. They also have closed their eyes, but that's one of those things that you can only see if you're looking at it from both the right angle and... well, just... if it's in the right sort of position.
Mm-hmm. Palmer brute forcing his way through a lot of things. Resonaire going for floor 23. Just has to get by the sleeping unicorn. And we're on the last 10 minutes of round 3, but I will again plug our runners here. Be sure to give them a follow with wonderful people.
It's in order.
Resonaire considering, not worth fighting anything that can blind me, and leaves. One of the worst things is going up another floor and being blind. So normally when you have...
And Resonaire has gotten quite the nice little elevator chain going on.
And technically, if Palmer were to get to it and find all the go-up traps, technically, on 18 and 19, he should be able to find the same elevator train from 20 onwards.
Yep, so that would be an exciting couple of floors to see.
Like, again, like...
oh wow, that is a spawn.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably the best case scenario. And then there you go.
Yeah, just have as many friends on your side and also Salamandos there as possible.
Oh god, blocks are just scary. Oh, and the zoo's awake.
Yep. Luckily, the zoo is not extremely threatening. It's somewhat threatening. It's not unthreatening. But by comparison...
the worst thing about zoos is if they were to use their roar on your monster will go from whatever AI they're set to their whatever is set to -1. So if they're already AI 1, they will turn into they'll go into a paralyzed state because it can't go to 0. If they roar on you, you're paralyzed. There's no changing your AI.
Mhm.
And yeah, I hate zoos for the most part, but
Monsters basically come into 2 categories. 3 if you count Noises and Palumpa in their own special sad category. And those are monsters who kill you extremely hard, or monsters who make it easier for every other monster to kill you extremely hard.
yeah. And the zoos actually are in both, because okay, I was gonna say that's lucky there.
Mhm.
426
They're
though.
reasonably hard hitter, but they mostly operate by making it much easier, including for them.
Mm-hmm. That's awake for the record. It'd be a faded color if it wasn't. So, yep, that's a lot of damage against Queenie.
Very much a lot.
Yeah. He's not going to be greedy. He's going to keep Queenie away and just go straight to the elevator. That's floor 27.
A good floor count.
Yeah, no, that's...
See, I think 30 is definitely not out of the question at this point in the race.
I'm pretty sure Resonaire has 2-star glasses. And this... Oh, it's a straight line level.
Well, that's very bad.
Yeah, it's going to be like another T-shaped one, I think. Because that was a 1 exit room, I think, behind him. Yeah, that's a Maneva. Yep.
A row of traps and a row of Manevas. That is unfortunate.
Yes, yes, Sarish. This is basically who goes higher within the hour time limit. The time limit is there mostly just to make sure that people don't sit and grind and do Earthquake. There is a goal of the tournament. It's getting new runners to basically learn the game. This is a stars tournament. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll be happy to answer. Simply Deme. But yeah, this is basic. Oh wow, okay, it's floor 19, I think, for Palmer.
I think so.
Yeah, floor 19. It's a 40-floor tower.
The game does not expect you to climb those 40 floors in 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. runs. It expects you to take quite some time.
We actually have some community members which still have not beat the game. Like they're trying, and like we've been playing it since it came out. It's like we still haven't. It's like it's just like the last 5 floors are the most terrifying experience because the golems, the glaciers, the dragons, the maximums. Those 4 monsters, they will end you. They will snipe you, and that's a Maneva in front of them. Oh wow, it's not. That's okay.
Unusual.
He could take 2 hits.
Oh, I think that is not maybe the best use of the holy could have come up with here. Certainly not the worst.
Resonaire using his bloom that he hatched earlier to stall the Mandara.
That's an interesting one. I like it.
Goodbye, Bloom. Thank you for your service. I have done that numerous times. I'm not going to be like, no, animal. No, I've purposely lured monsters away.
Is a resource like anything else.
Yep.
If you have a restore scroll like Resonaire does,
the Mahel Seed though.
Yeah, you could probably toss Kuhn to it. I think at one point I might have escaped a 1-room floor by doing something to that effect during a race, just using Kuhn as a meat shield and running. By the way, please note that when Ko is super fast, he is also extraordinarily handsome for some reason.
Yes! I don't understand why the character portrait changes like that. 428.
That is quite the run there.
Yeah, it gets Queenie out.
Especially after this, the seed initially was not very generous, and so both of the runners, willingly or otherwise, went back in.
Mm-hmm. Actually, they both left on floor 5 because of Minivas.
Yep.
So, put the diamond shield on and get the last little damage off there. Oh, our current world record for using a Garuda is 24 minutes, held by Wooga. Without using a Garuda is 27:41, I believe, done by today by Wooga. And in our previous tournaments, we've actually had quite a few. Oh, okay, goodbye, Egg. We've actually had quite a few tower clears, and even in the start tournament, which is basically the newer runners of the community, we've actually had a 40 floor clear as well by Chai.
And we've gotten in some very close runs. Otherwise, in this tournament.
You didn't know what that egg is, apparently.
Life is short.
4:30.
I wonder what eggs are.
Yeah. Also, if anyone, as we're wrapping up, if anyone wants to join our Discord, !Azure. This is the brackets. It's a round robin, I believe, is the term.
Yep.
For the type of matches, everyone plays each other every week, basically, and they have their own sets.
At the end of
Resonaire
the
not happy with
players
seeing
with
the
the
Miniva.
score, yes, win rate, basically the highest win count, will ultimately face each other off in some brackets to determine who is the rising star of the Ad Streams community. But really, it's everyone.
Yeah, again, this whole tournament was with the intent of basically
building experience and building out the community stronger and stronger and stronger yet for this little cult classic that, frankly, before we started speedrunning, on the first couple of tournaments, it was always a surprise to people to learn that, yes, this game has other people who know it exists.
Yes, and people actually do play this game. Aw, Palmer, so close to the elevator.
So close to the elevator, so
That's
close.
423 for Palmer.
And getting to the story, getting to one of the game's few points of plot.
Yes. So we just saw there the monsters spawn in. If a monster or if a trap room, oh dear, if a trap room were to appear, Belda would not spawn, and then the monsters would not spawn. So it's a very weird thing. And Resonaire is just gonna sit there and chat with the killers.
Yep.
So we are gonna do this. And that should end the audio, and we should be able to get them in for an interview.
Yep.
And I will send them the link here. Oh, once they confirm the interview.
Back 1 second.
Absolutely. There we go. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. We have 2 matches tomorrow as well. Is that... Okay, I thought there was audio bleeding for a second. Yeah, we have 2 matches tomorrow. Let me get the times as well in Eastern for everyone. Let me actually get... We're just waiting for the runners to join. We have actually Lady Deme versus Respectable Fool at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and then 2 p.m. Eastern, we also have Razor Flame versus Skateman 222. So if you guys want to watch more, if you also want to make sure you get notified for this, obviously pay attention to SpeedGaming, but we also have our Discord, which we will ping people for our races that we do.
Yep, we are trying to like officiate moving from like a ping everyone sort of thing to a ping people who specifically want to be pinged for Azure Dream watching.
We'll probably do a couple more at everyone's eventually, just to make sure everyone's aware. But if you want the role, contact a mod. We can assign you the role. And welcome, Palmer. You're muted, but welcome.
Good evening. Those were some impressive races and some very interesting RNG there. You are still muted, Palmer, and I don't know if... There you go. There you go. Nope.
Got a dark sword. I don't know if you guys saw that. That's pretty rad.
Yes.
Palmer, that would save me roughly an hour and 10 of my bookless run if I found that.
Or are they? I've never seen one. Are they pretty rare or something?
What, 1 in 5,000?
1 in 5,000. That's pretty rare. And I had a decurse scroll that I had saved, so I immediately uncursed it, and I was like, all right, cool. But it didn't even have like any negatives, so I was like, well, that's the point.
They always come cursed. There's a chance the dark swords would come basically not with a minus value on them. So you basically got the rare version of the dark sword, and that would have sold for roughly 50,000 at the town, which would make my bookless run immediate for just like I get all the funds, I can start everything.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that the color of the walls manipulate the RNG.
Speaking of, actually, you actually had different items on your game for a brief floor.
For why? We don't know.
We're going to be checking into it.
Is it because of the walls? Because that would be hilarious.
We don't know yet, but we will have to test out with bright pink walls to see if there's different something happening.
That means one of you guys is gonna have to play.
Shout out to programmer. I salute you, programmer, because there's no way I am going to play the game with bright fluorescent pink walls. That hurts the eyes to watch.
Yeah, I have sensory processing problems. I should not do bright pink walls.
Yeah, I was like, I would hate to commentate me do runs for 3 hours because I literally it's just I don't really even do anything. I just run around and I'm like, I guess I'll do this. It sounds pretty good. Like I don't have any game plan, so I'm sure that on your end it sounds like, oh man, the walls are pink. Oh, what is he doing? I don't know what he's doing here. I don't know. Neither do I.
Okay.
Particularly agonizing end of the second race.
Yes, I was going to say.
You were in the lead.
You were. You were not only just in the lead. If you used the elevator, you would have gotten to floor 15 first, and then you could add an elevator train to get the point.
That's funny. Yeah. I sat there for like 5 minutes.
Yes, you did. And the entire time me and Lady Emma were just screaming, just step down. Like, you are so close to winning. You're in advantage.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I was just sitting there. I was like, well, I didn't, because I couldn't see my timer. It was obscured by OBS. So I was like, so I just sat there and I was just beating on stuff. And then I was like, well, and then I saw, or I'm sorry, it was obscured by Discord. And then I saw somebody said something in Discord and I was like, oh shit. And I looked at the time and I was like, oh wow, how about that? I sat there for like 5 minutes for no reason. Because I was scared. I was getting a lot of EXP and I was killing them.
For 5 minutes on the floor that at the time was the highest floor that had been reached. Yeah. And now Resonaire is here to join us. Welcome, Resonaire.
That's funny.
Welcome, Resonaire.
Hey, GG, my friend. Good race.
Yeah, no, GG. That was fun.
Yeah, the fact that, okay, so first of all, Resonaire, you got to floor 17, the highest in game 2. Right. We were just touching on that with Palmer. Palmer was in the lead and was grinding levels in front of the floor 14 elevator, going to floor 15. If he would have stepped on it, he probably could have taken the match. But he was literally one step away from taking that point potentially.
Oh, Palmer!
But he wanted to grind levels for Mixture Magic, and me and Lady Deme were just screaming.
Time.
Yeah. The other thing is, Palmer, you got a high of floor 23, which is amazing on your run.
Yeah, very cool.
Resonaire, you're currently on floor 36, but within that hour time limit, you're on floor 30.
Yeah, I just barely made it to
You
31.
just barely made it spelled
within
out.
the hour.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
but right now I'm just kind of like kicking back, and a couple of people in the chat were like, "Well, come on, move! You got the 2 axemen right beside you, man. Let's see what happens." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, and that's the thing is, this game is extremely punishing. And also on game 3, you guys both ended your first attempt in the tower because of the Minivas.
Oh, really? We both kind of cut tail at the same room.
You fought them in the same room, and then you eventually left. Palmer forced his way through, found a balloon, got cornered, and then left.
Oh,
Both
okay.
of you left on the exact same time, re-entered at the exact same time. And
Nice.
Palmer, we did see your earthquake.
Yeah, so I always had heard that like if you stay somewhere long enough, the floor just collapses and you go up. But I couldn't remember if it was like you had to like kill a certain amount of things, or you just had to pass your turn for 10, or if it was like 10 minutes. I couldn't remember what the thing was, so I just ran around for like what felt like forever until it did it.
We thought you were trying to find a spell ball initially, but we pretty sure you already had that.
I took some very.
That's one of those moments where it was like, okay, so what is he doing? Because while that isn't a constant refrain, that is something that we did think occasionally.
Right. I remember I took some very crazy risks in a lot of the runs, like, places where I either killed it or if I missed, I was dead. So I kept taking a lot of big risks, especially in the first match. And then the second match, I think my first run going up, I just had like this weird misclick where I just walked in front of the troll 2 times or something.
Yes.
And it just owned me, like, absolutely. So I was like, God dang it, I feel so bad about that.
Resonaire, I do have one issue with you.
Go for it.
Put Queenie behind you, please. He's hitting so many traps.
Yeah. Yep.
It's one of those little quality of life choices.
Trust me, if you hit by a trap, you can recover. If he were to be hit by a warp trap, you don't know which teleport or which room he teleports to.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you get hit by a warp trap, you can see where you were.
Yep, absolutely. That makes total sense. It absolutely makes sense.
No one actually
I'd always put her behind me because when I first did that rock me to the top thing, and Sand Knight just told me, he's like, I didn't know that's why. I just had always habitually done that.
Yeah, it's the thing is, he can set up traps himself. He can't set up go up traps. But if he were to, it can just end you. It really can.
No, absolutely, and it probably did trigger a bunch of situations that
about 6 traps in 3 games.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know. I'm so used to casual payment. I'm so used to it that I must have just not realized that was kind of. I expect him to move beside me at that point. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
But, it's only good fun.
I think that's basically it for the stream.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah. I just want to point out that I got a monster den last race, and then today I got a dart sword. So who knows what's next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had the best luck.
Oh my god, an actual monster then? No, I got not that unlucky.
Yeah, Professor Palmer's last game or last run that he attempted, he ended up turning left instead of right, basically. And on floor 2, he came across the biggest of monster dens.
Eesh.
And it was just like, well, that's how it goes, I guess. And he's died.
Sometimes the tower just spontaneously decides you're going to die, and you're going to die now, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I'd never played a tournament where you could re-enter, so I wasn't aware that when you came back in that there was monsters on the first floor. So it took me like 30 minutes just to get to floor 2.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, it's also, speaking of towers that are going to say no, it does look like Resonaire is in that predicament right now.
Yeah, kind of. And with these suckers, I think I have to keep doing this.
But yeah, thank you to SpeedGaming for always being so helpful. Thank you to our runners. Thank you for Lady Deme for helping me commentate.
Thank you as well.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a blast. Sorry I was late, dude. I totally was not even paying attention.
Honestly, it actually paid out. Well, it worked out. There was supposed to be a delay anyway, so it's all good.
And
all planned.
No,
So
and
I
thank you
hope-
very much for putting this together. It's been so much fun. And GG, Palmer.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
GG,
Anyway,
gentlemen, and that will about close us off for tonight.
yeah. Everyone, take care. Again, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern and 3:30 p.m. Eastern on SpeedGaming 2 and SpeedGaming 4 will be 2 more matches. So
All
Gotta
right,
get their
you should
dues
turn
fixed.
down for that.
Thank you,
yeah, I know.
guys.
Who else is gonna run that day, right, Demi?
Take care.
Anyway.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.